Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to amongst I've been streaming for a long time now. And I have to admit, I've had some poorly planned shows. This has to be near the top of them. I was this close to not even streaming tonight. And to be honest, I don't know how long I'll go because I'm not feeling good. Been sick to my stomach all day. It's nothing serious, but I just had like a headache, sick to the stomach. It's probably just an allergy type thing, but eh. So I didn't really follow the news or anything today, and I was like, I'm not going to stream. And I sort of figured, well, I should probably come stream. That's also partly an excuse because I was up to something else as well that caught me being late coming up here. Um, does anyone want to take a guess? Nah, what my back shot was a couple weeks ago. I'm very boring with my entertainment options. Oftentimes I just watch the same stuff that I've seen many times before. And I was not Brian Shapiro. Wait, what's that? We got a Brian Shapiro mention? Say it ain't so, Brian Shapiro.
Harasses women in messages, has a weird infatuation with men's organs. He's a syndicated radio host, and it's all about respect. He's Brian Shapiro.
No, nothing to do with Brian Shapiro. Though I didn't get to watch it, but I saw that Andrew was on his show today debating him. I think I saw that. That's fun. No, not that. I should have watched that. Maybe we'll watch some of that tonight here. I don't know. But no, that's not what I was doing. Now there's only 25 of you watching right now. And I know that's because Andrew's streaming and Jake's hosting the debate that Andrew's having right now. It's tough to compete with Smokey Man and the Rattlesnake there, but that's okay. But for those that are here, I assume that you'll stick with me no matter how shitty my show is here tonight at this point. So I have a weird tangent to go on, and it's going to be tough. I just want to let you know, this is going to be tough. What I'm going to talk about has the potential to alienate a lot of my audience because they're probably not going to find the topic ripe with humor like I am, because it is a serious topic. And it's not something you should joke about, but I can't help myself. So I'm going to have to do it. Anyways, I hope you had a better day than me, being a little ill. What I was doing to make me late, in addition to just being sick and thinking I wasn't going to do the show tonight, was I was scrolling YouTube and I found a different YouTuber covering the exact same shit I've probably watched a dozen times in my life. And that is one of my favorite programs of all time to cover. Anyone have a guess? I'll give you a clue. We'll see if anyone get it. I already said the show is about a topic that's very serious, and yet I find quite amusing to watch. Does that clue help anyone? No, it's not whips. Well, I suppose whips could be mentioned, but no, it's not whip stuff. I'll be interested. Is there any fucking weirdo out there like me? It's not Brian Shapiro. It's not Trump Epstein. No, it's centered around a show that was on mainstream television. It's no longer there. A particular host that got famous, not a murder mystery show. Let's see. I'll give you this particular show was on Dateline NBC. Does that help anyone? No, it's not Maury. What could it be? It was on Dateline NBC. There's a big internet community dedicated to the show. I think it's darkly humorous, but it's a subject probably shouldn't be laughing about. Gigi nails it. Yes, you guys nailed it. It's Chris Hansen, To Catch a Predator. Yes! Oh, I can't help myself. Cheaters was good too. That's a good guess. Oh my goodness. To Catch a Predator. It's every time, like, I'll just stumble across it and I end up for like an hour. Like, what the fuck? It is outrageous. It is, I don't know what to say. I'm hooked. Now, I know Chris Hansen's had trouble with, like, I think he's had some legal troubles himself with alcoholism and stuff like that. I don't give a shit in this house. Chris Hansen's a hero. I love me some Chris Hansen, getting these creepy fucking weirdos off the street, exposing them for the fucking sad sacks of shit that they are. But it's everything about it. And it is actually, like, there's a lot of bad shit about it that I'm like, I don't know. Like, sometimes you jeopardize an actual case against these people by making it also a television production and the shit that goes on with that. But that's sort of the OG. Yeah, I've seen Theo Vaughn's story about Hansen as a guest. Maybe I'll see if I can get Chris Hansen to call into the show someday. Maybe he'll do the extravaganza. Me and Jake could go through like top 5 To Catch a Predator moments with Chris Hansen. That'd be great. If you don't know what we're talking about, I assume most of the audience does. Well, let's look it up. When do you all suspect that To Catch a Predator first came on? 2005-ish? Let's see. My guess, 2004. So it started in November of 2004. And it was sort of the OG. And for me, in 2004, I would have been 20. And I remember when that show came out, it took me a long while in my life to think that shit was real. Like, I knew there were child predators, but I thought it was like a serial killer. Like, it was that rare that, there's like 30 of these dudes walking around the country. And I think To Catch a Predator really opened my eyes to, like, holy fuck, these people are everywhere. Like, they had a problem. So, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. I assume everyone knows the show. So 2004, Dateline NBC works with Chris Hansen to have this show To Catch a Predator. The gist of it is this. They work with people that have decoys, online decoys. So it'll be like a team of people sitting around a computer of adults, but they're pretending to be like a 14-year-old girl or a 12-year-old boy. And they go in these public chat rooms and they say, hey, I'm a 12-year-old boy. And then they'll get all these fucking DMs from fucking adults. Oh, yeah. And like most of the time they just start chatting them up and then they lead it into a sexual conversation, which is bad enough. That's fucking insane, right? But then it gets even crazier because the show then will have the decoy say, like, here's my address. My parents are out of town. Show up. And these predators will be like, yeah, we're going to show up. We're going to have sex or whatever. And then they'll drive, sometimes like 6 hours. They'll drive to these fucking houses trying to hook up with these kids. And then, of course, it's just a house that's been rented out by Dateline NBC. And then Chris Hansen comes out and, they always have some cookies or something on the table. And Chris Hansen will come out. Why don't you have a seat? Why don't you enjoy a cookie? Would you like a glass of Kool-Aid? And they'll be like, oh, I didn't know. I was just here to make a friend. And then Hansen will be like, we have your chat right here. It says, you were saying all this sexual shit. How about that? Well, that was just a joke. That's it. That's pretty much the show. And then the first season, they just let the dudes go. And then after the first season, they'd have the cops waiting outside. And the cops would arrest these motherfuckers. Sometimes they would catch the same dude days apart. Yeah, that's GG. A lot of it's like, oh no, I was just showing up to protect this girl or this young boy because they're creeps online. Not me. I'm not the creep. And then, yeah, inevitably what happened was there was a dude that was a lawyer or a judge who was caught up in this, and he took his own life before the charges could be filed against him, and Dateline sort of pulled the cord on it. But I do believe that Chris Hansen then restarted the show some years later just as like an online show. Now, of course, this spurred a shitload of current content. There's tons of people you could watch online that are doing similar shit. But I have questionable views on it for two reasons. One, at least with Dateline, say what you will about NBC, it is a production with a lot of money and lawyers behind it. So it seemed to be a little more reasonable in building a case against someone that could stick in a court of law. Some of these amateurs you see online just doing it for content, they be fucking up the cases because they'll run in their mouth or doing shit that they legally aren't allowed to do, and it spoils the evidence, and then no charges could be filed. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is, and this is controversial in its own right, I think a lot of these people that do these predator stings are a big fucking psychos themselves. So they'll just be like beating the shit out of the guy, which, don't get me wrong, everything in me would want to beat the shit out of a would-be sexual predator as well. But for the purposes of like, hey man, we're actually trying to keep these people off the street and build a case, and you just punching this guy in the center of Walmart might jeopardize that. Might mean that this predator is going to be back on the street because you couldn't handle yourself, or you thought it would be good content. Shit like that. And then the other part is, what if you're wrong? I know it seems nonsensical, but you could be wrong. And then what? You beat the shit out of some guy, ruin his life, and you're wrong? So I'm not a big fan of the other shows. I'm not saying there aren't other shows that do it well. I don't know. But the ones I see going viral all the time are like just dudes beating the shit out of people. You're a fucking predator, blah, blah, blah. It's crazy. But I am a Chris Hansen fan, and so here I am. I'm not feeling good, and I'm laying on the couch. I'm just scrolling YouTube to find something to fall asleep to. And I was like, I'm not going to do the show tonight. It's like 9 o'clock. So I took some Pepto-Bismol and some Tylenol. I laid down, and there I found myself in an hour-long To Catch a Predator rabbit hole, as has happened to me in the past. And I basically know all the cases, but this is a different guy covering it. And I'm like, oh, you know, and then you get to hear what the dudes are up to now. They got caught as predator. And there's just so much. Like the first thing that's shocking is how many of these people there are. That to me is shocking. It really is. It's eye-opening. And like I said, for me, To Catch a Predator was sort of my first look into that. And then I've told the story before. Like, I always assumed the area I grew up in the world, like small town, like that shit ain't here. And then you'll check like Megan's Law. There it is. 4 or 5 people in your town. Now, not everyone on Megan's Law did something heinous. Like, you get on Megan's Law because you were drunk and you took a piss outside and someone saw. I'm not too worried about that. But there'll be people on there that literally got caught with like CP, or they are charged with solicitation of like sex with a minor and shit like that. And it's sobering. You're like, really? You know? Yeah, they accused an Asian kid of meeting an underage girl, but he was there to meet an adult, maybe. The second thing you realize is just how pathetic these predators are. And it might seem self-evident. Yeah, you're a fucking adult man trying to hook up with a 13-year-old. You're pathetic. But my goodness, it is absolutely insane to me just how big a fucking loser. Some of them you get it. Like the one I was just watching, the dude had cerebral palsy. I mean, fuck him anyways. Throw him in jail. I don't give a shit. But it's like, okay, I at least understand how you're fucked up. But there'll be dudes on there that'll be like the one guy was like a cancer researcher. He's like a 55-year-old man. He's rich. One guy was I shouldn't even say this one. One guy was a rabbi. Uh-oh. That'll be red meat for my audience. But it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Oh, I don't know. And then they say the most embarrassing shit. But here's the part you all might get mad at me for. So I noticed something else. I always notice something new, right, watching this. And I form these weird scenarios in my head. No, don't worry. It's not going to get too dark. But, like, I do this a lot. Like, if I watch if you watch a show, like let's say you're watching Game of Thrones, I've never watched it, but part of me when I'm watching it's like getting lost in the show. But then part of me is like wondering how the show came to be. What would it have been like for this actor to be in this position? How did the writers come to this decision? I wonder what the costume design was on. So like I'm always like, I don't know, just depends on my mood and when I'm watching something. In this particular time, I came up with this weird scenario in my head. I chuckled at it, and I hope you guys aren't mad at me for laughing at something so dark, but here we go. You ready? I wonder if the person who came up with the idea for DoorDash came up with the idea from watching To Catch a Predator. Because, like, they're always bringing groceries over. I brought you beer and condoms and pizza and soda. And I'm like, I just imagine some college-age kid that was like my age back in 2004 watching this shit. You know, and they're like, man, fuck these guys. They're the worst. However, what if we make decoys and then chum these dudes in? And we're like, okay, before you come over, we're going to need 3 bags of Fritos, a fucking pizza, stop at Domino's. We're going to need a cube of Pepsi. Can you bring that? Fuck, anybody else want anything? Get some beer. Bring some fucking beer over as well. You know? And then they chuckled. But then the one nerd in the corner is listening. He's like, that's not a bad idea. What if there was a business that just brought that shit to your door? And he's like some Zuckerberg fuck, you know, that's building an app. And everyone's like, shut up, you fucking nerd. We're watching To Catch a Predator, you know? And that guy was feverishly working on creating this fucking program, you know? But there you go. I don't know. I'd love to find out if that had anything to do with it. I mean, fuck these predators. But if I was doing a Sting show, if I was doing it like To Catch a Predator, I'd try to, might as well get some groceries delivered to you while you're busting these fucking weirdos, right? It's the least they could do. It's the beginning of their penance. Spend 80 of their own dollars on some fucking nice snacks for my home, you know? A cube of Pepsi. You guys, you don't do the cubes? That's how we get our sodas. Actually, we rarely get soda, but if we do, it's the 12-pack that you can slide in the fridge. So that's what I was thinking. And my wife's like asleep in the bedroom. I didn't know it. I yelled. I was on the couch napping. I was like, do you think that's how they came up with DoorDash? She's like, please leave me alone. Yeah, you could make a joke of making them bring more ridiculous shit. I'd like an entire wheel of cheddar cheese, please. Watching these fucking perverts, like, getting out of the car with a big wheel of cheddar. I brought your cheese, you know? Fuck these perverts, you know? And then I was like, I thought it'd be like a humorous premise for a movie or a skit, right? It's sort of like the decaf coffee crystals SNL skit with Chris Farley, right? You just have like, you have a group of friends telling their one buddy like, hey man, can you go down to the local Home Depot, man? Go down to the local Home Depot, and that guy that was gonna come bring that key for the new truck we just bought, he was gonna be there. Do you mind picking it up, man? His name's Larry. Yeah, fuck it, I don't care. And then the buddy just drives down. He goes into Home Depot, walks up to you, Larry, and they're like, Larry was the 12-year-old kid you were talking to online. And the guy be like, what the fuck are you talking about? This man was trying to talk to a 12-year-old motherfucker. And then the dude just freaks out and starts beating the shit out of people. They're like, it's a prank. It's a Jamie Kennedy show. I don't know. Well, anyways. There you go. That's why I'm late to the show. I was watching To Catch a Predator. Again, it's like I'm always like I'm going to see a new person. But now it's always the same old people. And it's fucking amazing how some of them, it's like, they spent, 5 years on probation and now they work at a local hardware store. What the fuck? You know? So I didn't look at the news a lot today because I was doing important To Catch a Predator stuff, I guess. Um, ooh. That's a good story. So we'll talk about what we can. Obviously, I think the big story is still the southern part of the Law Center thing. Yeah, there you go, Imaginarium. Yeah, sure. There's a 12-year-old girl here. Anyways, can you pick up a new PS5? It's just we're gonna need like 4 controllers as well. Trust me, bro. And also maybe a new big screen TV. It's cool. We'll help you unload the car. I mean, I'll help you unload the car. Don't worry. Murder, She Wrote. There you go. Yeah. If you ever get bored, just To Catch a Predator content on fucking YouTube. It's endless too. There's a billion channels that cover it. Yeah. Also, if I could show you something, and fuck you, corporate Joker, for noticing. I noticed it after I went live. You rotten bastard. Here is my Rumble stream right now. I'm sure you'll all be pleased with this. It's the stories of the day. Maybe debate bracket anal. I hate to disappoint people. There will be no debate bracket anal or anal, however you pronounce that word. It was meant to be panel, but the bracket is right to the right of the P, and my fat finger must have hit it. So apologies for that, Rumblers. Get your chuckles in. Ha ha ha. Terrible. That's why GG tuned in. I'm sorry to let you all down. Brian Shapiro. You think he's up to another Brian Shapiro mention?
He harasses women in messages, has a weird infatuation with men's organs. He's a syndicated radio host, and it's all about respect. He's Brian Shapiro.
Hey, wow. Oh yeah, that Coulter chick. How's that going? Kim Coulter debating Andrew and or maybe Rachel. I checked it out for 5 seconds. You know, let me talk a little shit on Andrew. Actually, it's not talking shit. It's actually talking him up a little. Like, I don't know where he finds the time to do all of the debates he does. Now, the policy debates are one thing. I get that. I could do that every night. Last night I debated Christian nationalism. Tonight I could debate like tariffs. Tomorrow, no problem. It's the fucking hater debates. Like at some point, I would just be like, how do you keep your sanity? It seems like every day someone that's like, Andrew used to be married to a black woman. Andrew's debating someone like that or doing a space with them or something. And it's just like, man, I don't know where he finds the energy. I really don't. It's incredible, but more power to him. So apparently, so I know it's bad form to advertise your competitors while you're streaming. But Andrew's debating right now if you guys want to watch. I did not watch the Andrew Brian Shapiro stuff. I thought maybe we'd save that for tomorrow. Now tomorrow's going to be a special stream. We're going to try to get to the $1,000 mark. And it is going to be the Chat of the Month stream. I'll explain the rules. We used to do the Chat of the Week. This time you'll get your opportunity to be the Chat of the Month. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a special song for whoever's Chat of the Month. And we'll even potentially, I'll have to see what Wade and the others think. Maybe we'll put the Chat of the Month songs on a wheel itself, and we'll play one of those a night or something at the end of the night. I don't want to dilute the whip wheel with bullshit, but my name comes up as he asked to see my penis. I do know that I know someone sent me a screen cap and was like, tried to send a super chat that was just like, Brian, why did you ask to see Rob's penis? But it wouldn't let the super chat go through. I was pleased. Also today, I had like fucking 5 or 6 people message me that I should have got back to. And you know how it is? Like, I think they're almost all emails. So for me, the way it works on my phone is like it'll just pop up like a little alert. It'll say like, you got an email. And you can see like who it's from in like the first sentence or two. So I can see it, and I can see that it was definitely shit I should be responding to. But I was like, I don't feel good. I'll respond tomorrow. So, you know. This lady won't make a single substantial argument. That's usually the way it goes. It's so weird to me. Like, last night's debate, I'll talk about that a little. Look, the worldview of the woman I debated, Leslie, sucks. And it's toxic, and it's fucking shitty. And I'm tired of all the anti-white man, anti-Christian, anti-European ancestry bullshit. White people are responsible for all the evils. Christians, this unique evil. I'm tired of that. And I hope I've made y'all proud yesterday that are also tired of that, saying, I'm proud of my heritage. I'm proud of my forefathers. I'm proud of the civilization they built. And I want to keep that a civilization worth being proud of. And I'm tired of listening to people denigrate it and act like I have to be shameful of my ancestors. Fuck you or my ethnicity. I don't care. Fuck off. But aside from that, she was polite-ish. It was fine. You know? I've certainly had far worse debates and she definitely droned on and on as she talked, and she interrupted occasionally, but it wasn't horrible. You know? It wasn't. But she was not a very good debater. And a lot of simple concepts were eluding her. And it's weird to me because I consider myself someone of average intelligence. Maybe, if I'm being completely honest, just slightly above average intelligence. Like if a 10 is the greatest geniuses that have ever lived, and a 1 is, Brian Shapiro, I'm like a 5, a 5.5. I would think, maybe a 6. I don't think I'm a ridiculous genius. I think I'm just a person who happens to have a strong suit in communication and talking and understanding argumentation, right? But most of my friends in life are around that area. Like, I have friends who would do pretty poor on an IQ test, and they didn't do particularly well in high school, but these motherfuckers could have an argument with you. Like, they understand the structure of an argument. And I am continually amazed at how many people I end up debating online that don't. It's shocking to me because I thought that was the outlier. I thought, like, the average person, like, they understand an argument. You know what I mean? It's little things, like, when I explain, like, look, if you're saying when it comes to, I guess I used the term a billion times last night. I'll try to not use it tonight. When it comes to the killing of babies in a womb, when you say, well, we have to look at other factors, and the person doing what I call the killing there, what if they had good reasons, and so therefore we have to keep them happy too? How doesn't that same argument apply to, say, sexual assault? Now, there are answers, but her answer was basically just like, I'm not following. Or something as simple as, like, you say that all the countries that immigrants are going to are free countries. Yes. Okay. Can you name one of those countries that didn't prominently feature Christianity at some point in their history? No, not off the top of my head. But they're like that despite Christianity. But wait, then we could test that. Okay, if that's the truth, then if it's the United States and Europe and all these countries are great because they've pulled away from Christianity, that's why they're great, then we would expect other countries that never prominently featured Christianity to also be great, right? Can you name one? I don't see how that's relevant. It's things like that. It's like, I don't understand the inability. And I have to remind myself, I guess it's becoming more and more common that I interact with people like this, that maybe that is the norm. Maybe the norm is just people are really shitty at arguing and understanding argument. And I don't mean this. I don't mean argument structure like we have to know the laws of logic. You have to be able to list them, or you have to know all the fallacies. I don't do that shit. I just have an inherent understanding of logic. Like, you don't have to tell me, well, P equals P and negative P can't equal P, right? Like, I intuitively know that without it being outlined. I'm glad I learned that stuff in college and stuff, don't get me wrong. But even before that, I could string an argument together, right? And it's really weird to me because, maybe I was spoiled because maybe just the group of friends I made before college, like in high school and my friends locally, I was just blessed to have friends that, for whatever reason, were better than normal at that, even though they're not geniuses by any stretch, just like I'm not. And then I guess I got into debate in college, so I was hanging around with people that were purposely doing debate as an activity, and many of them, were very smart, much smarter than me even. But it's so frustrating to me, and I'm trying to make a commitment to not getting as pissy when I'm dealing with it, because I think a lot of when I get like shitty and pissy, and I'll admit it, I do at times, a lot of it is my frustration with just abject stupidity in the face of like just a complete and total absence of being able to understand basic logic or basic argument structure. And it frustrates the shit out of me. And I'm sorry to say this, but I thought about this the other day, and that's why I made it a point. I hope that it came through last night. I was trying to be very patient. Like, I really was. I was being aggressive on a lot of the types of arguments, but I was trying to be even-toned and patient and let her talk at great length and whatever, even though it's like I could have said 50 times in that debate, but your answer is non-responsive to what I'm saying. You're just blathering on about completely unrelated shit. But I didn't. I sat there and was like, okay, because maybe that's not fair. And I think that what I've learned is it's a lot like, and this is going to sound really ignorant, but it's true. It's a lot like working with the people I worked with developmental disabilities. Believe it or not, my strong suit in working with those people, for whatever reason, was that I have an incredible amount of patience. And what I mean by that is, imagine going to work. My brother's in the chat, by the way. Go Rams. He's in the same field. And he could contest this. Depending on who you're working with, each individual is different, obviously. But imagine going to work and you find out you're going to do 5 days. Sometimes I'd be there for 30 days in a row. And you're there 24/7. Okay? Now imagine, let's just say 5 days you're going to be there, and you're with an individual person. Let's say this person's really interested in times and dates. And imagine for 8 hours a day you hear, what day's Christmas? What time's the game on tonight? Is that AM or PM? 1 hour after that, what time will that be? 1 hour after that, what time will that be? 1 hour after that, what time will that be? When's your birthday? When's your son's birthday? When's your wife's birthday? When's my mom's birthday? When's my sister's birthday? You'll hear that shit for 8 hours straight. Or you'll hear the exact same point over and over. And the normal thing, I think, in that situation is like, what the fuck, man? Settle down. I don't want to keep talking about this shit. Or to just totally withdraw and be like, yeah. But it's very hard. And, if you do either of those two things, you're going to lose the trust of the person that you're supporting. And they can't help it, And so I don't know what it is. But even from the beginning, maybe it helped that the first house that I ever worked at in that line of work was incredibly fucking violent. And so I was able to put it in perspective. If you'd be in a house that was incredibly repetitive or something like that, it's easy to be like, what could be worse? I could be getting a cinder block thrown at my head, or any number of other shit. So it's just relax. Yep. Is it time to go yet? Every 5 minutes, 8 hours before an appointment. Yep. Oh yeah. Or some houses you have a night shift, right? So you'll have a staff that comes in at like 11 p.m. and their job's just to sit there and basically make sure that nothing occurs in the evening. And so if the client gets up or whatever, no problem. Night shift guy takes care of it, right? But most of the houses I worked in didn't have that. So what you get is, we would go through phases depending on who you're working with. They'd knock on the door. Robert, hey, what's up, bud? Can you come watch a movie with me? Hey, man, it's 1 a.m. It's time for bed. We got a lot to do tomorrow. We're going to have fun. Okay. 2 minutes later, Robert, can you come watch a movie with me? Until 7 a.m. when your alarm goes off. And you just sit there in bed like, buddy, come on, man. We got to drive tomorrow. I can't do it if I'm sleepy. And it's really hard. And I'll tell you, this is something shitty I shouldn't even say. There was a dude that worked at my regular house that I was at. Nice guy, younger dude. And I go into work one day, and the staff office, we had a office that our staff bed was in. And there's a door to that office that you shut and you would lock. And on the right side of that door is a fucking huge hole. And I was like, oh shit, what happened there? And he was like, I punched my fist through the fucking door because he wouldn't let me sleep. He kept talking to me every 2 minutes. Well, you can't do that. And then that relationship was never the same between that staff and that client, because that client was pissed off. He took that as physical threat. So it's very tough. It's important. And I know it's fucking ignorant to say, but I think now my tone with a lot of these debaters is, there are some of them that it's just like, I just have to tell myself, like, what I consider the normal average ability to understand an argument and understand the structure of a number. Not understand the issue. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying, if I'm debating someone on economic policy, they have to know the ins and outs of it. I'm not saying that. I'm saying argument structure. And it seems lately for me, it is more rare than common to get someone who has even a simplistic understanding of argument structure. So I am attempting to relax a little and not get as pissed off, because I'm like, well, I guess what can you do? And so that was a lot of last night. It was a lot of me trying to be like, just be reasonable, Rob. Just be reasonable. I think to anyone with any amount of objectiveness whatsoever, attempting to evaluate that debate, not only did I win, but it wasn't close. And so at that point, it's like, I don't feel the need. What's the point of getting animated? It's like, you just have to be like, okay, and hope that the audience understands, like, and that's especially the point last night during the audience Q&A, where someone asked her, can you do a syllogism if it's logic that abortion should be allowed? Can you do a syllogism proving that? And I don't know if she got the term syllogism confused with the term screed, but she just went off asking questions and with commentary for like 2.5 minutes, nothing resembling a syllogism. And I was just like, okay, what am I going to say? Like, what, do you even understand what a syllogism is? So I was just like, nah, it's cool. I don't have much to add to that. That's fine. Like, what more can I say? Like, the audience notices. Some Curb Your Enthusiasm music queued up. So, I don't know. It does get frustrating me. Man, and it's not like that with everyone. A lot of the bigger name lefties I debate, even if you think they suck, they understand an argument. They might be bad faith or they might make terrible arguments, But that's different than not understanding how an argument is structured, you know? Well, that was fun, I guess. The Rumble audience filling up over there. Everyone to see the maybe debate anal or anal. Yes, I understand I'm not unbeatable, Geoverse. I've lost more debates than you could count. I mean, I'd probably debate. My guess would be in college in the 4.5 years I debated. My guess is I averaged 10 tournaments a year, probably close to 100 debates a year. And my record on there was probably 60-40. Because what would happen was I started at the lowest level, and once I started to win a lot, I wanted to bump up as quick as possible. So after 2 years, I was bumped up to the highest level, and I got my ass kicked for 1.5 years until I started to get decent. And then even when I was very good, most of the time I was just going like 4-2. We did very good at a few tournaments, but most of the time you just did slightly better than average. It's just that some of the key tournaments we did very good. So what the fuck is this guy talking about? See what I mean? Here's a great example. Thank you, Brennan Bell. Let's use Brennan Bell. Now, old Rob might have said, "Why are you coming in saying, what the fuck are you talking about? It's your fault. Go back and start at the beginning of the show, you lazy motherfucker." But that's not what I'm going to do today. That's not what I'm going to do. That's not you, the guy in chat. I was just joking anyway. I was going to say, I'll say, it's okay. We're talking about debate and debate structure. I was going to say, Brennan's always good, was he? What's my most favorite debate I ever had? In college, man, there's a couple that I would put. I would say that my favorite debate was the debate that I qualified for the National Debate Tournament, which was round 8 at the District 7 qualifier in 2026 or 27. 26 or 27. And it was against Liberty. I forget their initials, but I remember their faces, and I know one of their names. It's a funny debate, so I'll explain a little of it if you want. It was a Supreme Court topic. Now, the nature is half the debates you're affirmative, and you have to affirm the resolution. That particular year's resolution was the Supreme Court should overrule one of these 5 cases. On the negative, you don't. In policy debate, the negative doesn't mean negating the resolution. Negative means negating the affirmative. And so in order to affirm the resolution, because you only used one all year, was intentionally broad to allow a lot of different ways to affirm it. So some of the easiest ways would be a topic like that year that would just say, the Supreme Court should overrule one of these 5 cases. And it's quite simple. To be affirmative, you just have the Supreme Court overrule one or more of those cases. Simple. But a lot of times the resolution would say something like this, and it was always written this way. It would say like, well, here, let's just see. Let's see if I could find the exact wording. So I debated in 2024, and here was the topic. Resolved, the United States federal government should establish an energy policy requiring a substantial reduction in the total non-governmental consumption of fossil fuels in the United States. The year before, it was, the United States federal government should enact one or more of the following: withdrawal from its World Trade Organization complaint against the EU, substantial increase in government-to-government economic and or combat protection assistance to Turkey and or Greece, full withdrawal from NATO, removal of its barriers, encouragement to European Union, North Atlantic Treaty participants. I don't believe this, by the way. I think this is removal of tactical nuclear weapons from Europe. Oh no, this harmonization of intellectual property law with the European Union in the area of human DNA sequences, rescission of all or nearly all agricultural subsidies in the 2002 Farm Bill. I don't know if that's true, but you get the idea. It's always resolved. The United States federal government should, and it'll be this broad topic. So in this particular topic, it was these court decisions. So we were affirmative, and the team we were debating knew the argument we made in the previous round where we were negative. And when you're negative, you'll make arguments. There's different types of arguments you can make. One of them is called a disad or a disadvantage. A disadvantage is merely an offensive reason that's outside what the affirmative talked about. So the affirmative might say, here are advantages. We help the economy. We help climate change. Therefore, the plan, and here's how it solves those things. So what they're trying to solve is climate change and the economy. The negative will say, you don't solve those things, and here's where you're wrong about your advantages, here's where you're wrong about climate change, and here's where you're wrong about the economy. And then a disadvantage would be a new argument, a new sheet of paper. You cause racism, or you cause war with China, right? That would be a disadvantage. We had a particular disadvantage that had to do with Justice Scalia. And so we ran this argument. I can't remember the exact details of it, but it had to do with if this was overruled, it would cause Scalia to do X, which would cause some sort of harm, which is bad. All right. Before the round, we're sort of friendly with the team we're debating, and we know we have to win this round to ensure that we qualify for the national debate tournament. And the kids come up to us and they're like, hey, we're glad you guys are affirmative this round. And they knew what our plan was. We always read the same plan. They're like, we're glad you guys were affirmative because we didn't have an answer to that Scalia argument. Well, you should never tell your opponent that, right? Because we also had the Scalia argument as an advantage. We just never used it. So in other words, we argued in the previous round, your plan to overturn this causes this bad shit with Scalia. But we also had our plan prevents that bad shit happening with Scalia. So as soon as they told us we don't have an answer to that, I was like, okay. And so they were like, you start off, right? And sometimes you do what's called a roadmap. The judge will ask you, how many sheets of paper do I need? We have, you don't have to announce it this way. You might say 4. We have 3 advantages and then solvency. How it solves. So we were like, yeah, we got the same 2 we always have and an add-on. And as soon as we said an add-on, I looked over and I could just see the kid shaking his head. He was like, fuck, they're going to make that Scalia argument. And that's exactly what happened. And we ended up not going for that Scalia argument, if I recall, but they spent so much time trying to answer it. Because they fucked up. They told us. Now, you could theoretically, as a poker strategy, let's say they wanted us to run that. So they'd say, shit, we didn't have an answer to that. Then we run it and they're like, bam, gotcha. But they didn't. And we knew that's not what was going on. They thought they were safe because it was the last round and we probably weren't ever going to debate them the rest of the year because the only tournament left was the national debate tournament, which they didn't qualify for really. So no harm in telling us, shit, we were struggling to come up with answers to that. Yeah, well, you fucked up. And it was funny because my partner was this he was a Buddhist hippie. He didn't give a shit about winning. Real tall, thin dude with long hair, beard. Sort of the opposite of me. And he was so nervous that round. Every other word out of his mouth was fuck. And this dude never swore in a debate. He'd just be like, the next fucking argument, it's like, what the fuck are they? And blah, blah, blah. And it was way out of character for him. So finally, in the middle of the speech, I was like, hey, grab a drink. And he's like, and we won convincingly. It wasn't particularly a close debate, but yeah, that was my favorite one. And the reason it was my favorite was because I watched a guy, when I started, I joined the second semester, so the first semester had already gone on, and the debate season takes place over both semesters. Usually ends about April, I think. Anyways, I started debate and got to be friends with the guy and woman that were our top team. And the guy was way better than the woman. He was a senior, she was a junior, and he busted his ass for 4 years because my particular school, Clarendon University, had never qualified for the national debate tournament. And in fact, really no poor state school like that ever does. So he took it upon himself. He was going to be the fucking dude that did this. He was going to bust his ass, and he was going to qualify for the national debate tournament. And so I was in awe because you have to understand, I come in and I'd be debating like this. Like that year, the topic had to do, our plan was to sign the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty, which was to stop testing on nuclear weapons. Right. And so I'd be arguing like, look, we got to stop this testing. If we test nuclear weapons, Russia, right, they'll try to get nuclear weapons. And then it leads to sort of like miscalculation. As we continue to build up our arsenal, 6-7, as we continue to build it up, eventually there could be a mistake which causes a global nuclear catastrophe. So we should just sign the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty. And so that's how I'd be practicing. We had evidence, but that was basically it, right? And then I go in and I watch this dude practice. He'd be like, third argument, they talk about signing the CTBT would be something beyond unique, but we've already signed the store charge. The problem is not going to be able to solve what we're talking about because comprehensive test ban treaty takes place after this. Talking about nuclear bunker buster, we'd be able to use a place like Afghanistan to fight terrorism. Those bombs are going to be necessary now. And the third argument, they talk about the bunker buster being to be able to strike something like Osama bin Laden, but that's just not going to be true. Our conventional military would be able to take care of that, especially we're building alliance by signing the comprehensive test ban treaty. This would mean we'd have military alliance all through, and the NATO would be able to prevent these things from occurring in the first place, which means we wouldn't have to escalate. And also, we don't have to get rid of our nuclear stockpile that we have now. This would ensure that we have sort of the same sort of like Samson option to make sure that we don't have these wars that are going on, so there'll be less internal conflict to go. Our opponents make the fundamental mistake of thinking that we would immediately disband all of our nuclear weapons, would go back to the world we saw before nuclear weapons, would have these great rewards, but there's several things that would have taken place to make sure that that's not occur. And I was just in there like, what the fuck is this? Like, I'm just in awe. And it sounds like gibberish, but it's not. He is making arguments. Yeah, there's a time limit. The constructive speeches, you have 9 minutes, and the rebuttals, you have only 6. And what happened, it's sort of like the modern art movement. It's such an insulated community that, like, imagine this, like, people used to think presentation very much mattered in these debates. And so you would get scored not just on the actual arguments you're making, but also your tone, your presentation, even how you dressed, how polite you were. All of that could factor into your individual points. And so things like the speed of your delivery had to be in a way that the average person would find persuasive. And if you're talking like an auctioneer, it's probably not going to do it. But then what happened was the next generation of debaters come, and who's your judges? It's the former generation. And you're like, if we can make 4 or 5 more arguments per speech, that'd be a huge advantage. So instead of talking like this, what if instead we talk like this and just picked up the speed a little and still sounded professional? We could add over a 9-minute speech. This might add 4 or 5 arguments to the previous more deliberate tone that maybe traditionally seemed more effective. But then the next generation was like, well, what if we talked like this and just went a little faster? It's still comprehensible. It's hard to keep up with your critical thinking skills to going at a speed maybe like this, but still, we'd be able to add 4 or 5 arguments and the judges could keep up with it. Why not do it? And then the next generation was like, what if we talk like this? We could do just a little faster. After all the judges sat through that speed that was coming before, so there's no reason we wouldn't be able to talk this way. And then you just started to lose all pretense of the general public even fucking understanding. So the next thing you know, it became a position of pride. If you're a judge, you don't want to admit, I can't keep up with this. And after all, when you were debating, they were talking at this speed, so you understood how to talk a little faster. So if someone went just a little faster than that, it's easier to hear than it is to speak. So chances are, if you could keep up with the debate speaking like this and coming up with thoughts on your own like this, then you could probably understand if someone's talking like this because it's just a little faster. But after all, you're not the ones that have to come up with the arguments now. You're just writing down the arguments, trying to think. And then ultimately, it got as fast as humanly possible. They say that the human brain can understand 500 words a minute. People can speak up to 300 or 400 words, but there were people that are much faster than this. You have to be clear. And all of a sudden, when you have people when they're reading evidence, will be able to speak really fast, and all of a sudden, you'd see people that would be able to do these things, but outside of just reading evidence, all of a sudden people that would be the normal person would look at these debates and say, it sounds like just 2 auctioneers going, we don't understand what the fuck they're talking about, but that's sort of the point. We don't care what you fucking please think about it. Doesn't matter. This is what's considered persuasive now. And it became a fucking joke. But it was all about getting more arguments in. Okay, well, how do you push back on that? Well, we did this. We went to Wake Forest one time and we argued that speed debate is stupid. And we lost over and over and over. Want to know why we lost? Because for every argument we made, they'd make 5. And the way debate goes, no matter how silly an argument is, most judges, if you don't answer that argument, they accept it. You're not supposed to do work. And this is a mistake that I see people that watch, and like common people in an audience that watch debates make. For example, if I go over to my debate with Abe Dinkis, which my editor Black Elk put up today, there will be people in the chat that'll be like, well, Rob, you lost this debate because it's impossible to be empathetic. Now, was that brought up in the debate? Of course it was. We talked about it at great length. The person judging the debate isn't really judging the debate. They're saying, here's my feelings on the topic. And if I disagree with you, then you lose. But for me, when I watch a debate, what I'm trying to do is, to the best of my ability, take out my opinion on which side's right and wrong. By the way, that's impossible. Your bias will always influence you to a degree. But I could watch a debate and say, look, it could be a pro-life debate. So abortion versus pro-life. I could watch it and say the pro-abortion side wins. Pro-choice wins. Here's why. I don't agree with that side, but I could say their performance in this particular debate was better. Right? So that's, it's very much, there's utility. I mean, that style debate fucked me. I talk way too fast in my normal life now. And it's nonsensical. You should not be training people to, for me, a huge portion of teaching someone to debate is having utility in the real world. Like, I joked about this. This dude was flipping out the other day on Verbal Combat's chat. Rob was a fucking shitty person because he taught people to lie. Yeah, that's my way of saying I thought that my job dealing with people that were autistic was far more important than my job as a debate coach, and I still think that. When I say teaching people to lie, it's a bit tongue-in-cheek. There's a lot of good things about teaching someone to debate. First thing is, if you ever become a coach in anything, the first thing that will shock you is how often you'll find yourself in a position where you're, I don't know how to put this, you're sort of giving people life advice outside the scope of the event you're teaching or coaching. So like if you're a baseball coach, you may find yourself in a position where you're talking to a little leaguer about like, what's wrong, buddy? My dog died. It's all right, man. I know. I've had a dog die. It's tough. It's tough, man. You let me know. I'll talk to your mom. We'll see. You might find yourself in that position. And it's weird because you're like, dude, I'm just here to keep, hey, throw the ball to first base. But you find yourself in those positions. And you would think, well, debate coach in college, everyone's at minimal 18 years old. Everyone's a young adult. By the way, there were some people that, you could be older, I suppose, if you were an adult, 30 years old and going back to college. But most people I coached were probably between the ages of like 18 and 24. And you would not believe the fucking conversations you would have with people. Like, just crazy shit. Like, here's 2 stories real quick. Obviously, I won't say names. There was a gentleman on the team who would never bring a bag with, like, clothes. And generally, what would happen would be you'd leave on a Friday. You'd either leave on a Thursday or Friday. A couple rounds of the debate tournament would be Friday evening. Then you'd debate all day Saturday. Then you'd debate most of the day Sunday and either leave Sunday night or come back Monday morning. So you'd be gone Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and maybe Monday. 3 to 4 days. You need a fucking change of clothes, right? This guy wouldn't bring them. And he reeked. He was he really, really, really smelled aggressively bad. And it's difficult. That's a difficult thing to tell someone. Like, hey man, you smell really bad. Like all the time. Look, we've all smelled bad. You've been out fucking doing yard work or working on the roof or something. But this is like every day and bad. And I remember talking to the head coach and we're like, what do you say? Right? Like, we don't want to single anyone out. So we dropped little hints, didn't work. So then the next meeting, the coach was like, the head coach, I was the assistant, was like, look, I want to apologize. I was out doing some yard work the other day. I think I was pretty ripe when I was in here. Sorry about that. So just a lesson for all of us. This is deodorant. Wear it. This is soap. Shower with it. Cool? So that was our way of like blaming ourselves for being stinky. Maybe didn't work. So finally, and I swear this is a true story. I swear this is true. We had to directly sit down with this kid. Okay, he says, sure. We go to this tournament, and first night of the tournament, me and the head coach have our own hotel room, and then the teams have different hotels. The boys would have a room and the girls would have a room. And this dude didn't shower, was in the same clothes. So the coach was like, Rob, you're rooming with him. And you're going to make sure that he fucking gets a shower and he puts clean clothes on. This is ridiculous. Okay? So I was like, hey, man, come on. So he goes in and he gets a shower, right? I hear the shower running. And I could hear him on the phone while he's in there. And I'm just doing work on the bed, like evidence, and I walk by to like go out to the hallway and the fucking shower door is open. Like the door to the bathroom, it's open like a quarter of the way. And as I glance over, he's just standing there in the same clothes outside the shower with the shower running. So he comes out, he's in the same clothes, does not have any bead of water on him. And I was like, hey man, did you shower? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, I gotta be honest, I think you're lying. I don't think you showered. And he's like, yeah, you're right. And I'm like, what are you doing? You spent more effort to fake showering than just to shower. I was like, do you have like a skin problem? Like, is there an issue where the fucking, like the water harms you? I don't get it. And he's just like, I just don't like it. So that was an issue. So we finally had to put our foot down and be like, this is it, man. If you don't shower, if it's a problem, you're not debating the next day. And then another story with that same guy, I'll never forget this. There was this dude in the team. He's great. He was on the team when I debated, and then I later became a coach, and he was still on the team. And he comes out, and he's fucking, like, he's dying laughing. And I'm like, what? He's like, you're not going to believe it, man. If I tell you, you won't believe it. I'm like, what? He's like, okay, listen. He's like, keep it to yourself. He's like, I swear to fuck. He's like, I swear this is true. I was like, what happened? He's like, it's like 6:30 a.m. and we had to be out at the van at 7:15. So my buddy here that's telling me the story, he's like, I had my alarm set for like 6:45. He's like, but people are getting up at different times so they could get ready, brush their teeth, shower and stuff. He's like, I just happened to hear someone up and I look and he's like, we'll call him Mac. It's not his real name, but he's like, I see Mac. The guy that doesn't shower. He's like, I see Mac. And he's like reaching in the dark for something on the floor. And he's like, he finds my fucking wet ass dirty socks because it was snowing. So everybody's feet are soaked walking and trudging around in the snow. He's like, this dude picks up my gross ass fucking wet socks and puts them on. Put on this other dude's dirty ass wet socks. He's like, I just started gagging, was like, I gotta go outside for a minute. He's like, I don't want them back. He could keep the fucking dirty ass socks. So you would deal with shit like that. It's fucking surreal. And then another story, at one point we had a female assistant coach, and we had this girl that joined the team, and she was very quiet, seemed nice. And she would wear skirts without undergarments. And she did not seem to be that type of girl that you would think was very flirtatious or something. But I'll just put it politely. She was sitting in positions that made it evident that she was not wearing undergarments. And so this woman assistant coach had to be like, can I talk to you? And through conversations I had with this other assistant coach, it was like, she has no clue. She just has no clue. Like, she's explaining, apparently this girl was explaining, in my home, we didn't wear underwear. And you'd get shit like that. You'd get people that come from homes that are just totally different than anything you'd ever expect. And you'd have to be like, oh, well, that's sort of not how society functions. So there was weird shit. And then I later had to have that same conversation. I had a coach from another team come up to me and say, hey, those two girls you're coaching, good team, but you got to tell them they got to start wearing appropriate clothing because they were wearing such revealing clothing that it was becoming an issue. So that was one of the most awkward conversations I had to have, talking to two girls that are basically 1 year younger than me, being like, listen, you guys got to put some fucking clothes on. You're representing the university. You want to go out partying on the weekend? I don't give a fuck, but you're representing our school. You can't do that. You got to be professional, you know? So shit like that. So that's the first thing. Anything you coach, you'd be shocked at how you might find yourself in a conversation just with basic life skills for someone who maybe wasn't in a family situation where that was something that came up. And so that was the weirdest thing about being a debate coach to me. But the thing related to debate was teaching people like how to argue and evaluate argumentation. For me it was a cool thing. And I think that it could help everyone out in their life, not just if you're going to be a lawyer or you're going to be a debate coach or you're going to be a politician. Like, if you learn debate and you learn how to debate multiple sides of an issue, it really does help you become a more well-rounded person and understand things. Like, even, let's say you go into a job and you're in marketing or something, or you become a welder, whatever it may be, it helps you in interacting with people to be able to be like, what is the best way to make my point? And how can I better understand the point that the person I'm talking to is making? And you know, for that, I thought that it was a lot of fun teaching debate structure. It really was. Now, the specific game of everybody talking as fast as humanly possible, coming up with things like counterplans and a bunch of other shady shit that doesn't have anything to do with real life and how you would be able to come up with those plans and the average person wouldn't understand what you're talking about anyway. Yeah, that sucked. I would have much rather coached like a public debate format. But that is a weird thing though. But I'm thankful that I did debate, and you know, there are people in my life that are influential to me, and you know, my dad, my grandpa, my mom, my father-in-law, and right near the top of that list is the guy that was my debate coach, who's a shitty Democrat, and he probably regrets every day that he helped make me a very good debater so I could go out there and push conservative policies. He's a great man. And he busted his ass and sacrificed a lot of his time and energy for almost no accolades himself, just to get me to, you know, the goals that I'd set for myself. And he did. And if it wasn't for him, I would have never came close to qualifying for the national debate tournament. And me and my partner worked very hard, but he worked harder than both of us. There's no doubt in my mind. And I'm a fucking dude, so I'm never going to go up to him and be like, I just want to thank you. So I assume he knows, but he was very important to me, and he taught me a lot about not just about debate, but about a bunch of stuff. So I'll always be thankful to him, even if he hates. I am basically his Frankenstein monster. That's true. And then of course, so he finally coached us to qualify for the national debate tournament. We made that's. I was talking about that guy though. One of the reasons it was so special to me was the kid that when I came in was our top debater my first year. he busted his ass to qualify for the national debate tournament. And you get to the district tournament and you have to take like top 5 places in the district tournament. And basically, if they win the last round, they're in. And I sat in the round and I watched. And the guy, by the way, that team, the girl that was a junior and the guy that was a senior, they're now married and have kids. So, but he was considerably better than her. He was good enough to make it. He really was. And she, I don't think it wasn't like a big goal for her to qualify. She was dating this dude and liked him. And she was good. She was naturally talented. But I don't think she had the energy to care as much. And so he outpaced her. And so he's sort of dragging her. She was probably an excellent JV debater. But at the top level, like the varsity division, she was probably decently below average. And so he's trying to carry her, and he's fucking debating like a fucking madman. He's doing good, man. And they lost. They lost the last round. They came that close, and he was beat. It was in D.C. The tournament was at Mary Washington University outside of D.C. So we had, 7-8 hour drive back home. And I just remember, like, of course he cried a little more feminine than me, my man there. But he did cry a little, but it wasn't that. It was just, I remember that trip back, just this glassy stare. That's it. He was a senior. For 4 fucking years, he busted his ass to achieve this goal. And he failed. And he's never going to get another chance. There was nothing that he could do. That's it. Game over. And I remember at that moment, like, I'm going to make the national debate tournament. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to qualify for it. And that was it. And so every conversation I had with my coach after that, he'd be like, hey, you won this novice tournament. You have a year left of novice eligibility. You'll clean up. You'll probably win nationals. I was like, fuck that. Bump me up to the next rank. But you're going to lose. They're better than you. That's okay. I want to debate the best people because I have 4 years, and my last tournament, I want to be as best as humanly possible, or the best that I can. So the way that I'm going to be the best that I can is to constantly debate the best people that I can. So bump me up. And so that's what happened. If I would start doing good at the novice division, okay, bump them up to JV. Then I get my ass kicked for a while. Then I start doing good, okay, bump them up to varsity. The people that entered debate with me at the novice level, they'd stay a novice for a year or two. I'd never see them again. So the people that I was competing with for like first place at these tournaments when I was a novice, after that first year, I never debated them again, except one team. The rest would stick there and stay as long as they could to get a bunch of awards. Then they'd gradually bump up. So that going into that last tournament, the tournament before that, me and my partner, we were friends too. We got in a big fight for various reasons, and finally we just said, fuck it, man. It's just a game. If we lose, we lose. And then we won. That was it, though. We did pretty good. And then after us, once I started to become a coach, there was a kid that came along who was as good as me. And he also qualified for the national debate tournament. And I would say that that's the last time that will ever happen at Clarion University, because the only reason that me and that other kid, of course he had a partner, but the only reason that us 2 teams were able to do it was because of that coach. And that coach has since became a father, and he's pulled way back. I don't even think Clarion University has a policy debate team anymore. So, but for a solid 6 years or so, we were pretty good. And if I would have had the opportunity to debate with that kid, all of his strengths were my weaknesses, and my weaknesses were his strengths. He was a super fast technical debater, like fucking brilliant. Very good. He was great at research and shit like that. I sucked at all that shit. Like, you guys think I speak fast. I don't. I was slow when it came to the top levels of debate. I was very good at all the little shit. I was very good at being convincing and doing cross-ex. and finding out how can you win this debate through the path of least resistance. In other words, I'm debating some dude with a perfect SAT score from Harvard. 99 out of 100 times, if we argue an issue, this dude's going to beat me. He's smarter than me. There'd be people with photographic fucking memories. You'd like read from a book and they'd be like, actually, if you look 3 pages later on page 177, drop down 2 paragraphs, it says this. And you'd be looking like, what the fuck? How's this guy know this? It's crazy. But what I was good at was I understood something that a lot of people never did, which is that your judge is human. It's almost like you watch poker. You know how poker used to be like when the movie Rounders came out? And everybody's idea of poker with that, or with like Casino Royale, or all of these old movies. To be good at poker was like learning to read the tells, right? Fucking Teddy KGB. Spoiler alert from the fucking 30-year-old movie Rounders, right? Teddy KGB, his tell was he would twist his Oreo, right? If he had a good hand. Or if he was bluffing, I can't remember, right? But now if you watch professional poker, it's not that they don't look and try to get tells, but it's all about like mathematical odds and knowing exactly what the right play is at the right time. Now, the truth is, a combination of both of those things would be necessary to make you like the best of the best. But the tells and stuff like that you hear less about now. Like if you watch the World Series of Poker, very rarely are they going to be like, Melissa's twirling her hair. That means she has a full house. Like that shit doesn't happen, right? But that was like, in debate, you could be this very technically skilled person, right? And I was better at like, I knew what a judge wanted to hear. I'd watch the judge when I was debating. I could change my argument on the fly probably as fast as anyone in debate. Most people, they'd use their prep time. They'd be writing their arguments as they're listening to their opponent. They have it all written down. They have it planned out. Me, I'd be like the argument comes to me as I'm talking. And so if I'm looking at the judge and I'm seeing this argument ain't flying, I could fucking switch real quick. Be like, and that happened to me once. You give a roadmap. You'd stand up and you'd say, okay, this is where we're going. We're going to go to the economy page, and then we're going to go to the counter plan. And so I would give the last speech for my team. I was both the second affirmative and second negative. That's actually what they call outsides, but forget about it. And so I gave the last speech for my team, and I'm the second affirmative rebuttal. So it's the very last speech of the debate. And I stand up, and I say, okay, we're going to go for the theory argument. A theory argument's like, you broke the rules, so you should lose. Basically comes up in every debate. Because debate's unique because you could argue about the rules of debate. So we're going to make this theory argument, and we're going to go for it, right? So I stand up, I'm like, we're going to go for the theory argument. And the judge does this. He's like, I was like, never mind, scratch that. We're going to go for the rest of the arguments. Because normally, not always, but I found it effective to either go for one or the other. So me and my partner prepped for 6 minutes to go for this theory argument, and just based on what I saw as the judge's eye roll, I was like, never mind. And we won. And I just came up with the shit off the top of my head. It was like, yeah, here's why we win the debate. And the judge was like, yep, you made a right decision. So it was like stuff like that. But I was very good. I was very good at that. And knowing which arguments to go for and which arguments you could concede. So, but I had fun with it. I'm glad I did debate, but boy, is it the worst also. It's a weird thing. How do we get on this? Is Andrew still debating? Nope. He done. So anyways, the reason I got on that was just like people were talking about Andrew's debate being frustrating. And I was just mentioning how so many of the online debates I do now, it's frustrating to me because I'm shocked at how people don't even understand argument structure. Not in a scholastic way. not being able to tell me the rules of logic or syllogisms or fallacies, but they just don't understand like the actual structure of an argument. Like an analogy. It is amazing to me how many people don't understand an analogy. Yes, but those two things aren't exactly the same. Yes, but it's illustrating, right? It is illustrating in a simplified form the thrust of what your position is. But those two things aren't exactly the same. But the differences in those two things don't change the argument. I don't understand. They're not the same. Okay. Just a hater to hate on Rachel. You know, I didn't watch that debate, but let's talk about it for a minute. Like, it's always amazing to me, and then I promise we'll read super chats. It's amazing to me how much of the Andrew and Rachel haters go back to these arguments that are basically viewing Andrew and Rachel as something that they just aren't. So I think I've talked about this before, but let me go through my theory on this. Men get treated like shit in society. I agree. I put it in like white people get treated like shit and Christians get treated like shit and people from European descended countries get treated like shit and et cetera, et cetera. Has to do with this cultural Marxism, oppressor versus oppressed. And men are oppressors, so they get treated like shit. That's the direction our society has been going. And there's a ton of ways you could evaluate at that. Now, if you're going to be honest, the truth is that all groups that you could break into different groups, all sides of those, sometimes it's a benefit, sometimes it's a detriment. Sometimes you're treated better than you should be, sometimes you're treated more like shit. So are there advantages to being men? Of course. Are there advantages to being women? Of course. Are there disadvantages to being women? Of course. Are there disadvantages to being men? Of course. And the same with white and black or Christian or non-Christian or depending on what you're talking about, where you're at, when you're at, different sections of society. You know? But I'll answer this real quick. How did I get so good at debate? I don't know. Like I said, for me, it's less about like, I practiced a lot in college, like a fucking ton. I did a ton of work. But for me, it just came more naturally. I argued about stupid shit like sports and stuff all through my teenage years. And I didn't look at losing debates as something to shy away from. Because to me, it just made me better to talk to people that were smarter or better than me. And so after being around really good people and accentuating my own ability to sort of be able to think on the fly and to be able to break things down in a common sense way, while being with those people that were teaching me skills to be more technically sound, I think that's how it happened. Anyways, men get treated like shit, no doubt, all right? So what happens is we have all these social voices for women, all fucking Hollywood, all of it now skewed toward women, all of it. And I'll happily debate on anyone that disagrees. Now, of course, when I say all of it, I don't mean literally 100%. I mean that it all skews in that direction. So the movie industry skews that way, the television industry, you know, etc. And really there's very little concern with men's issues, right? That's the way it was. And so what happened was you had a bunch of men who were scorned, who were like, fuck this, and we're going to talk to other men. We're going to talk about men's issues, right? No problem. And a lot of the high prevalence now is what we now collectively call, it's a loose definition, the red pill. Your Andrew Tates. And the argument goes something like this. All of society is geared to fuck you over as a man. Women are going to take advantage of you. They don't give a fuck. You'll find a woman you love. You'll be faithful for 20 years. You'll go work your 9 to 5. You'll want nothing more to come home to your wife, your kids, and then one day she'll cheat on you. But you want to know the thing? Or she'll stop having sex with you, right? But when that happens, you know who's going to be punished? You know who society's going to blame? You. No one gives a fuck about you. The court system's going to give your wife custody. She's going to give her alimony. You're going to be broke. You're going to be living in this fucking one-room apartment And you're going to have to bust your ass the rest of your life to send everything to your wife, who's going to hook up with some other younger dude and fucking go live her best life. And probably you're never even going to get a wife, because you want to know what happens now? Now with the whole free sex movement, turns out women are just hoes. And they're just going to want to sleep with the top. You want to get real black-pilled in the issue? You really want to go down it? Go watch a clavicular fucking stream. Here's a guy who announces, I'm just basically trying to bang chicks. I don't give a fuck. And chick after chick after chick after chick after chick waits in line to basically make out or blow the dude on camera. And they'll be like, yeah, I have a boyfriend. Ha ha. It's depressing. And it's true. And the data backs it up. Not to say that men aren't without fault. I'm not saying that. But no one gives a shit about the men's side of the equation. Shut up. So you got the red pill people. They're like, here's what you do. Fuck them. Literally and figuratively. Go work out. Get fit. Here's how you can get money. Get a fucking Bugatti and go bang as many chicks as you can and tell them to fuck off. And that message is appealing. Because so many men today have been treated like shit by our society for so long that they've started to view women as adversarial. So fuck it. It's like the opposing team. If you're the New York Yankees and you're playing the Boston Red Sox, you're not like, oh, I'm going to treat you with... You're like, fuck you. We win the game, then fuck off. See you later. Pack your bags. Winning. That's it, right? And so a lot of the red pills like that. And it's based on, as I see with a lot of this stuff, a lot of different movements, there's a lot of truth in what they've isolated as the actual problems that exist. They're pointing at problems. I just don't necessarily agree with their solution. I mean, if you want to just there's no shame in getting physically fit, and if you want to make a bunch of money and shit like that, that's fine. To me, that's not the ultimate goal, though. The ultimate goal to me is finding a woman that will love you and then making a family and making that marriage last, hopefully in the eyes of God. To me, there's nothing. No Bugatti in the world, no fucking bench press that I could ever do is going to equal one day with my son, who is just amazing. And if I would have, maybe in a different lifetime, if I was born 20 years later, I'd be sitting here streaming to you with my fucking look max and with my chiseled jaw and my fucking ripped biceps. Like, yeah, man, gotta go get my fucking Bugatti and blah, blah. Maybe. But hey, there's no one right answer for everyone. And there's going to be people that are happy with I just want to hook up with as many chicks as I can throughout my life. I think it's hollow and meaningless myself, but marriage isn't right for everyone, I guess. So, okay. Anyways, that's it. If you didn't know, now I'm way oversimplifying, but does anyone disagree? That's basically the red pill, right? That's basically it. That's your Andrew Tates of the world, your claviculars, folks like that. Wes Watson, yes, shave your arms. Andrew also is isolating a lot of those problems and talking about it. It's true. If you hear Andrew on whatever, he's going to talk about the problem of women just being hoes. And he'll talk about the problems of men being shunned in our legal system. So the mistake everyone makes is, a lot of the problems he's talking about is what the red pill people are talking about. So Andrew's red pill. But that's not it. The solution he's offering is different. And if you're watching and you want to know, the best debate I think that he's had with it, there's been many, but the one I would recommend was as far as I know, the last time Andrew talked to Pearl Davis. Because it was basically focused on one issue, and it was marriage. And Pearl falls in as like a woman that is in the red pill sphere, manosphere, and her argument is basically men shouldn't get married. It's a big mistake. And Andrew's argument is that's true for a secular marriage. If you're a materialist, and I'll back Andrew up on this. It would be very rare right now in the United States in 2026. If your goal is to maximize your profits and your wealth that getting married and having a child will help with that. It's probably not. If you're a man right now, you're a 23-year-old man, let's say, and you're like, my goal in life is to accumulate as much wealth as possible. There is a 99% chance that if you get married and have kids, that's not going to help that cause. It's going to be a hindrance towards it. So if that's what your goals are, if your goal is to get the Bugatti, if your goal is to bang as many chicks as possible, then yes, marriage, bad idea. Yep. But Andrew's like, I think that if you get married in the church, in the eyes of God, and you associate with fellow people like that, that's actually the highest achievement you could get as far as a relationship. That's a different argument. Completely different. But Andrew's opponents, they don't really. Now, part of Andrew's opponents are the very red pill, like that Coach Greg guy. But most of the people that dislike Andrew are on the left. And so they're like, we don't like Wes Swanson. We don't like Coach Greg. We don't like Pearl. We don't like Andrew Tate. And Andrew Wilson makes the same arguments. So one of the arguments that these red pill people will make is sort of, you're a loser. You're a cuck if you raise someone else's children. If you get married to a woman that had relationships before you married her, she's for the streets, you're a dupe, you're an idiot. What's that? Andrew's wife was previously married? Then he's not a Chad. He's a dupe. He's a cuck. Now, you understand, at least, even if you disagree, why the red pill people would say that. That fits in line with their ideology. But the funny part's watching all of these people on the left make that argument. Now, these are people that don't even believe that you should try to save yourself towards marriage or any of that shit. They don't believe it. In fact, they would bitch at you if you shamed someone and said, hey, wait a minute, Bonnie Blue, you're hooking up with 100 people a night? Hey, don't shame her. Free love. Woman's choice. But all of a sudden, Rachel Wilson, see the problem? Now, I could be wrong, and I'll eat crow if that's the case. But I have never heard Andrew say that as a Christian man, he would prescribe not marrying a woman that already had children. I've heard him say the more relationships that a woman has had, the less likely that you will have a successful marriage. And I think the evidence bears that out. But I don't recall him ever saying, therefore, you should never have a relationship to a woman who has children with another man. I don't remember it. Now, maybe he said that in a debate. I don't recall, though. I've never heard it. And I've talked to him about this, and I do not believe that's his belief. So now we end up in this situation where you have all these people on the left that's like, oh, well, Rachel, she was in a previous marriage. She has children in a previous marriage. Probably 95% of every woman that insults Rachel like that has been ridden more times than they could fucking count. And they're going to insult her. Why? Because she was in 2 relationships that she thought were going to be long-lasting relationships. And her claim is, and I have no reason to doubt this, she was faithful in both of those relationships. And they both ended up being situations where she found abusive. You may say, yes, but is it Christian to get divorced? That's an argument. I've heard different sects of Christianity and different people that I truly believe are Christian have different thoughts. Obviously, I think just getting a divorce because you're just bored or something like that, it's terrible. But if there's physical violence, if there's other situations, I don't know. I don't claim to be a theologian. I guess I leave it up to each person to determine. Yeah, he said it's not a situation he would suggest in general. Sure, but that's different than saying you can't do this. So the attacks on Andrew from the left basically become, aha, you're a good stepfather. Okay? Aha, fuck you. You got emotional when someone attacked your wife and screamed at him. If I die and the worst thing someone could say about me is, remember that time in a debate where someone started talking shit and Rob's wife and he flipped out on them and yelled a bunch of insults? I think I had a pretty fucking good life. If that's the insult. Of course, if I was ever caught on camera not being able to open an olive jar, now that would be fucking embarrassing. But that's your big attack. And over, it's like, and I don't understand it. I've debated Andrew on his worldview, and I've talked about things that I disagree with him. It is not as if, like, I think that it would be absurd to think that, like, any human has, like, the perfect worldview, unassailable. I don't agree with that. And so it always shocks me where it's like, oh, this person's going to debate Andrew, or they're going to debate, they have beef with Andrew or Rachel. Okay, what do we got? And it's always the dumbest shit. 95% of the time it's that. Oh yeah, your wife had a kid. Okay? You know, and as far as I'm concerned, and this is just me, maybe I should keep my mouth shut on this. I hung out and did projects at Andrew's house. I've met Andrew's family in person. They seem perfectly happy. Now, you never know. I don't even know about my relationship. I couldn't be happier. So far, my 40s have far and away been the best 2 years of my life. 99.9% because of my wonderful wife and my son. I'm fucking ecstatic. It's not perfect. I yelled at my wife today. She made pulled pork, and she said it'd be done by 6 o'clock, and it wasn't done till 7. I was like, damn it! You know, but my fat ass could wait an hour. It's no big deal. But yeah, everybody argues. No relationship's 100% bliss all the time. But I love my family. That's not to say that shit can't go awry. Maybe 3 years from now, something happens. Maybe I'm a piece of shit and I end up cheating on my wife and she leaves me. Or maybe she realizes I'm a fat layabout and kicks my ass to the curb. I don't know. It could happen. And will people be there to point the finger and go, ha ha? Sure, that's the price you pay being an online personality. And it's going to be 10 times worse for Andrew because unlike Andrew, he spends a lot of time talking to people about relationships and stuff. I don't really talk about it. Like, say what you will about me. From fucking Destiny right on down to fucking Sarah Tomato. I ever talked about their marriages, their relationships, their children? Good luck. You'd be hard-pressed to find something. I'll say you fucking suck. Your arguments are dog shit. The only time that I could recall was when I was debating that RTP guy and he was talking shit to my wife. And I asked him if he's married. And he said no. But he gets laid a lot, basically he said. And I said, do you have kids? And he said, yeah. I said, I don't think that's cool, bragging about bringing a bunch of strange women into your home if you have kids. And then he fucking pissed and moaned that I brought his kids into it. I think that's bullshit. I wasn't insulting his kids. I was saying if you're a parent and you're fucking going to insult my wife and my relationship, and then you're going to brag, I'm fucking a bunch of chicks, I'm not impressed at all. I don't think that's fucking cool. That's my opinion. So yeah, who knows? Maybe 5 years from now, Andrew and Rachel are divorced. It could happen. I don't think it will. As far as people I know that are married, I think their marriage seems very happy to me. But I guess you never know. And that's the nature of the beast. The more successful you become, the more you talk about sort of how people should be in relationships and shit, the more people are waiting to fucking point out your life. Look, on the other end of it, it's like Destiny, right? Destiny would go on panels and talk proudly about his open relationship, and he would criticize Christianity and other relationships and shit. Well, when his marriage ends poorly, people are going to be like, ha! See? I'm not making a stance on whether it's right or wrong to do it. I'm just saying, once you enter that world, you have to expect that's how people are going to do it. You know? And I haven't done that. I've not done that. Even to people that I dislike, like Destiny. Never once. I had a million opportunities I could have brought up in a debate. My chat's constantly like, ask him about that video with him with that dude. Ask him about his wife with this dude or whatever. Never brought it up. Same's true of everyone else that I've interacted with. I'll be reciprocal. They want to bring up my relationship? Fine. Then it's fair game. Then I'll bring shit up. But until that point, I'm interested in beating people's fucking political views. Or their cultural views. But it's just amazing to me. Like, I don't understand what... You know? Hey, Andrew, you're a good stepfather. Oh, you fucking loser. What are we doing? So, I don't know. I find it, and that's what I was saying at the beginning of this, like, I have to, I don't know if I fucking think Andrew's a fucking maniac, or if I have to give him credit for, he just does these debates over and over and over about these personal issues. And it's easy for me on the outside to be like, fuck these people. Tell them to eat shit. They're just jealous. That's all this is. 99% of it's just that simple. They're pissed off because Andrew is becoming incredibly successful. He got to do trigonometry. He got to do Joe Rogan's show. He has 8,000 people watching him a night. If he decides on a random Tuesday, I'm going to do a stream and raise $10,000, he'll fucking do it. That's what it is. And, you know, I think for me, not to humble brag, but I will. I don't know. I just don't give a fuck about that sort of thing. Like, I'm the type of guy that, like, I interact with a lot of people. Like Cool Vic, or Speakeasy, or any of those people like Abe Dinkins that I talked to the other day. Any of these people. Caleb, there's my man Caleb on there. He has a YouTube channel. If any one of those dudes all of a sudden ends up surpassing me, and next thing you know, they're doing Joe Rogan's show and shit, I swear to you, my honest to good opinion is going to be like, that's fucking awesome. That's great. Good for them. I'm not going to be like, well, it should have been me. After all, I started streaming around the same time as Andrew. There isn't an ounce of anything in me that's jealous about Andrew's success. In fact, to the opposite, I'm grateful to Andrew. Andrew's success ended up, at least in part, helping me. Why would I be upset? It's great. And I don't give a shit. I've always been that person. Like, I've always been the type of person, I don't need to be the superstar. I don't care. I don't at all. My thing is, I've you know, I said it recently. I want to affect change. I want to have a good show. I want people to watch me to have a good time, and I hope that I affect society in a positive way, starting with my family and then branching out to the local level, and then maybe what I do with this show. I do. But aside from that, my overarching goal and what I want in life is I just want a good family and I want to hang out with them. That's it. And I could envision myself being 50 years old and coming on here and I've made a decent amount of money. And I'd just say to you guys one day, like, hey, man, I'm basically getting rid of the internet. I bought an RV. I'm going to travel with my wife. That's it. And maybe I'll stream from time to time. Maybe you guys will see me. But if not, it's been real. Thank you guys so much. Honest to goodness, that's how I feel. And I have people tell me all the time, like people in local politics, why don't you run? You'd win locally. Because I don't want to. I just don't. It's not what I want. I will sell Wade the whip wheel if I decide to hang it up. For me, it's like when I see someone, I'll be honest with you. I've been at Andrew's house where it'll be like, hey, you know what we should do tonight? Let's fucking get some pizza and we'll watch a movie. We watched the movie Open Range last time I was down there. Great movie. Kevin Costner, a Western movie. This motherfucking guy's phone's ringing off the hook. 50 people a day. Oh, could you do this debate? Can we set up this project? Are you available to do this podcast? Oh, here's an advertiser that's calling. Oh, here's a someone that's working on a political campaign. To me, that looks miserable. I'm like, nope, no thanks. I don't want to be that guy. Not for me. You could call it laziness. Whatever the fuck you want to call it. I don't know. I see that. I'm like, no thanks. That looks like a lot of fucking work that I'm not interested in doing. So for me, it's like, there's no jealousy there. I'm sort of like, I don't know. That seems a bit like a pain in the ass, is what it seems like. I'm not the biggest fan of traveling. So like, I'll talk to Andrew. He'll be like, Jake's the same way. Jake Rattlesnake. That dude's traveling all over the place. And I know some people are like, that sounds great. Traveling like that to me. I'm like, oh, what a pain in the ass that sounds like. I like my little fucking rural area. I like it here. My idea of a vacation is we're going in July to this camp called Jellystone that's like 45 minutes away from here. It's got a little water park area in it. A couple water slides and a fucking campground. Beautiful. Same forest I see every day, just the other end of it. Wonderful. That's it. That's all I need. I'll fucking die here. They'll put me in the ground here. Wonderful. No problem. I don't give a shit if I ever see New York City. I've been out of this country one time. And that was literally, geographically, the shortest distance I could travel to get out of this country, which was I crossed into Canada from Erie and went to Niagara Falls, or around Erie to go to Niagara Falls. Literally 5 miles across the border to Canada when I was 19 years old. That's it. Never been out of the country. Don't give a fuck if I ever go out of the country. I may at some point, but I'll guarantee I'll be bitching. Oh, fuck. I don't have a passport. That's something I have to do in case I have to travel. I just don't give a shit. It's like, I don't want to travel. I like it here. That's it. I don't want to go to the city. I don't want to fucking work in Washington. I don't want to get in a fucking airplane. I find it to be an inconvenience and a pain in the ass. So I don't have it where I'm like, when I see, I want to be the next Charlie Kirk. Nope. Oh, I'm jealous that me and Andrew started streaming at the same time. Nope. God bless him. I think he's doing tremendous work. And by the way, as a complete bonus, the amount of tremendous work he's doing not only helps move the needle politically and culturally in ways that I want, but it's also helped me out with my channel. So why would I be jealous? So for me, it's so weird when I watch these people and they're like, I'm going to attack Andrew's family because of jealousy. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? It's so foreign to me. I just don't get it. I mean, I get it, I guess, in the abstract, why people are jealous. But for me, it's like, who cares? And it's a weird thing because, like, the story then, let me take it, now that we're an hour and 50 minutes into the show, let me talk about politics a little, I guess, right? Take it to this Southern Poverty Law Center story. The idea of people getting paid in shady ways behind the scene to sort of subvert the message that they're putting out there. It's so fucking weird to me. Now, there's a difference. And I've talked about this before, and I've defended people I don't particularly like in this sense. Like when Progressive Victory PAC was paying people. I have no problem with people taking money to give their political opinions, as long as they're open about it and that they're not being duplicitous. So if you're some lefty that's, just getting by, like Wick, and Progressive Victory comes to you and says, listen, we'll pay you $1,000 a month or something. Okay, what do you want from me? Just basically keep doing your show. From time to time, can we have you moderate a debate for us? I don't see the ethical problem with that whatsoever. As long as you're open, no problem. If, But if you're a conservative, Connor, and all of a sudden you're taking money from Progressive Victory PAC while you're still calling yourself a conservative, now you can see the problem. Or if you lie about taking money. But if Turning Point USA called me and said, Rob, love the show. We'd love to promote it on our website. How would you like to come to an event for us? And we'll give you $3,000 a month. Just keep doing the show, man. What's ethically wrong for me being like, sure. Now, if they start saying, hey, you can't criticize Trump anymore on the Iran war, I'd say, okay, keep your money. Not interested. But if they just are going to allow me to keep creative control, no problem. No problem with that. But so many people, who was it? Someone in my chat, we used to make fun of like Sodagate. You remember this shit? So it broke like 5-6 months ago? There were all these posts from these conservative people on platforms like X that all were coming out simultaneously. We're like, well, we shouldn't take soda off of food stamps. You should still be allowed to buy soda on food stamps, which is a terrible idea. And then it turned out lobbies or these groups that were working in part to help companies like Coca-Cola were fucking paying. Yeah, it is Corey Barton that says it, yeah. So he's talking about big soda. They were fucking paying these influencers. And it's like, you greedy motherfuckers. Greedy motherfuckers. Really? Now, if you have someone who's been like, hey, I'm fucking libertarian, I don't know what a libertarian, I think a libertarian would be against, they'd say we're against the concept of food stamps anyways. So sure, take soda off. But if you were someone who'd argued for years, and then they said, hey, we like your argument, we'd like to pay to help enhance your message, no problem there. The problem is if you're getting paid to say something you don't believe and you're not being honest about it. That's the problem. It is a war for your mind. That's right. But for me, it's just like, I don't understand. I don't understand the petty fucking jealousy. And it's, by the way, it's fucking everywhere now. It's on the left and the right everywhere. Like the infighting that goes on the left is fucking nuts. Now we're seeing it on the right with your Candace Owens faction, your Nick Fuentes faction, your Ben Shapiro faction, and everybody's drawing lines in the sand. And I get it. At some point you have to draw a line in the sand to some degree. But I remember, again, I don't think I'm saying anything that would piss him off, but I remember talking to Andrew after Charlie Kirk's death, just bullshitting. And there's obviously a lot to say about Charlie and his life and his family. And then there's a lot to say about, okay, if we're going to be doing events, remember at this point, we were working with Word War to get that event set up, Debate Con to get that set up. There's another Debate Con going. Andrew's debating Monday at a college campus. All of a sudden, you know what comes to the forefront of your mind? Security. Very important. So the conversation goes there. And we're talking about like, well, what does this mean? How do we, because you have an ethical responsibility to not just keep yourself safe, but to keep the audience that's coming to watch you, to try your best to ensure that you've made reasonable measures that they'll be safe. Of course, nothing could be perfect. We get that. But so a thing like Charlie Kirk, if you're a streamer that's doing in real life events and you're setting them up, that's something you have to have a conversation about, as morbid as it sounds. And it feels fucking dirty. I remember laying up in bed feeling shitty about that. Because to me in my head, I'm like, to even talk about that sort of making his death about me, which is absurd, you know? But I understand the human nature and the practicality of it. You have to discuss that sort of shit if you're doing these in-person political events, right? But one of the things then I remember talking to Andrew about was the power vacuum that would be left by Charlie Kirk. And just And I didn't realize it at the time. And I hope that it never came across this way. But I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you like, oh man, I was friends with Charlie, or I was always talking up Charlie. Not really. It wasn't really my cup of tea. Charlie's demographic was sort of younger people on campuses. And to be quite honest, I didn't understand Charlie's real strength until after the assassination. I'd seen clips of his debates. I'd talked about it. I'd criticized Turning Point USA. I thought the idea sometimes of them, who they chose to bring on to be speakers and stuff, like former OnlyFans girls or people that I didn't particularly like. I was like, why are you doing that? Why is that a voice? It's fine if those voices, I guess, are voting with us, but to make them central figures in the movement seems to be a huge mistake. But that was it. I'm not going to claim that I really... What I've learned since was I think Charlie's real strength was organization, coalition building. And it's still, to me, it's shocking how many people from different factions went to Charlie and talked through him. That's amazing. That's an amazing talent, and it's difficult. Him organizing this huge Turning Point group, the inroads he made on college campuses, his ability to like be talking to people in the Trump administration and people like Tucker Carlson and all these different voices that all trusted Charlie and were listening to him and leaving him sort of be a bridge. And he was like a focal point of all these connections. And I remember Andrew said to me, he's like, it's going to be grotesque to watch how people scramble to fill that power vacuum. Now, what do we see? Exactly that. Exactly that. All of this infighting you see on the right. Everybody wants to be the big dog. You know? And I have zero interest. You know? So for me, it's always just been easy to not be jealous because I already feel like I'm extremely lucky to have the life that I have. And, you know, so for me, it's not like I'm always, you know, I mean, I'm human. I'm always like, oh shit, I wish I had a new car. Oh shit, I wish I had a better computer. Oh, you know, this stupid ass chair. I wish I had a better chair, you know. I wish I had more money, so when Wade Boggs tried to send me money to play whip songs, I could be like, I don't need that. But I don't. And so I play the damn whip song. But overarchingly, I'm a pretty happy guy, and so I don't feel the need to get that jealous. And so when I see these fucking crabs in a bucket trying to tear down everyone, and I think you could tell, like, look, I'll call people out when I think they deserve it. I'll be like, fuck this, you know? But at the end of the day, I still hold out this naive hope that I'm looking what I think, and you might disagree with me. I know an awful lot of you are going to be like, yeah, the group we need to fight. I look at what I see my enemy as, and I see my enemy as globalist and progressive ideology and this cultural Marxism that's represented by the Democratic Party. And I say I want to beat that. Many of you in the chat are like, you mean Jews? No, that's not who I'm talking, but whatever. But that's why I'm like, yeah, I said it after the death of Charlie Kirk. I'd bring Nick Fuentes on the stream one day and then talk to Ben Shapiro the next. If that helped us build a coalition right now that could stop the hemorrhaging of where our culture's gone in the past 20, 30 years. That's it. And so I'm not really interested in being like, I want to tear down Nick Fuentes. I want to tear down Tucker Carlson. I want to tear down Andrew Wilson. I want to tear down Ben Shapiro. I should be taking their place. Why does Michael Knowles have a show on the Daily Wire? It should be me. Like, I'm just like, whenever I work with any of these people to a degree. Now, I'll fucking call them out. And I do. If I think they're shitty or if I think that they're fucking ops, whatever, I'll call him out. But my initial intuition is just quite simply, I'll fucking work with anyone who's not going to make me compromise who I am and is willing to work with me to stop what I see as the terrible progressive cultural Marxist globalist agenda that's trying to fuck over my people. That's how I look at it. And I know there's a lot of people like, it's not worth it. Alex Jones sucks. Tucker sucks. Nick Fuentes sucks. I totally get it. And I'm not saying that it's possible to work with all those people or even that it would be fruitful. I'm just letting you know where my initial intuition comes from. That's it. And so it ends up, it makes a lot of interactions easy for me. For example, did you guys know Brian Shapiro? Do you know about him? Oh, Brian Shapiro.
He harasses women in messages, has a weird infatuation with men's organs. He's a syndicated radio host, and it's all about respect. He's Brian Shapiro.
You know, Brian Shapiro, he continually mocks me. He's like, oh, you wanted to debate it on America Fest, but I went with Alex Stein. That happened previously as well with the debate that I was lined up with Modern Day Debates with Pisco. That they replaced me with Alex Stein. You know what my reaction was? That's probably smart. Alex Stein has a bigger audience than me, so I understand why everyone involved would want to talk to someone who has a bigger audience. And Alex is a different type of debater, so it's probably not going to be as challenging in some ways to debate Alex as me. In other ways, it might be more challenging. But did you ever once hear me say, well, fuck that, fuck Alex Stein, and fuck you, Brian Shapiro, and fuck you, Pisco? No, I'll say fuck Pisco and fuck Brian Shapiro, but for different reasons. Not for that. Not because you chose to debate someone with a bigger audience. It's like, that's cool. And good on Alex. I wish him well. Simple. Because I don't care. Brian's entire attack on me that's like, you only have 100 people that watch you. One, that's not true. And second, let's assume it was. That's absolutely amazing. I streamed for years to 3 or 4 people. Brian's right. If we are to believe the numbers he puts out, which could be dubious, the amount of people that watch him or that he claims. I mean, what are we up to? 10 billion people a day that watch his syndicated radio show? You know, I don't know if all those numbers are accurate, but whatever, I don't give a fuck. You don't hear me making a big stink. Oh, they're fake numbers. I'm just like, whatever, I don't give a fuck. Sure, for the sake of argument, we'll say you have more people that listen to you than me. And? Oh, well. I don't care. It blows my mind regularly that I have more than 2 or 3 people that watch me. The technology of it blows my mind that I'm just some fat guy sitting on a fucking creaky ass chair. And that through this technology, I could reach hundreds of people a night. That blows my mind. The fact that people are willing to listen to me. The fact that somehow, on average, I have over 100 people a night that'll stick around at the end of the night to listen to me play the same damn song over and over and over again, thousands of times. That blows my mind. The fact that anyone donates anything at all to me, let alone how generous you all are, that blows my mind. So for me, it's like, the insult, you only have 100 people watching you. If you would have asked me 3 years ago, if you'd have said, Rob, you're going to have 100 people watching you a night, I'd have been like, no fucking way. Really? So I don't take it as an insult at all. Also, I don't take an office in the second floor attic. I think that sounds like a very wealthy man with the second floor attic. But it just, to me, it's like, I think that's great. I think it's great that people watch me. Even if I lose all my audience and it's just 5 people watching me, that's awesome. And anyone who says that I'm full of shit, all I can say is go back and watch my live streams from 2019 where 2 people would watch and I would do a 6-hour live stream. I don't think you ever heard me bitching. There's only 2 people watching. It just didn't happen. Again, if you go back and you just look, you can see I'm not making it up. If you go back, if we just look at the videos I used to put up, 7 years ago when I started on YouTube. Sure, the first 2 videos, 268 and then 1,000, 40 views, 15 views, 29 views, 33 views, 11, 20, 24. That's the way it was for years and years and years. And then you can see it actually gets to the point where it's like, holy shit, I'm killing it. Look, here we are. A year later, I got 50 views, 59, 78. Then all of a sudden, look, now I'm crushing it. A year after that, now I'm getting 178 views. And I debated Destiny, I got 651. That Tom Wolf one, that's still one of my top viewed videos of all time, 8,000. Wow, what's this video? Let's watch this for a second. Is that my in-laws dog in the car with me? Let's see what this is about. Usually it wasn't. It is! This dog, you see this? Oh man, this is great. I can't believe I have a video with this guy in the car. That dog is my mother-in-law's dog. His name's Cruz. He's very old. He's getting to the point where he has significant health problems, but he's a great dog. He's an old man, and he loves to just fucking sit in the couch with me when I go over there. I will be seeing Cruz tomorrow. We're going to pick up a chicken coop. Let's see what I have to say in this video. It says I'm a fat hypocrite. All right. People to fat shame me to help me lose weight, which I'm fine with that. I don't mind people. I think comedy's fun, and it does. That's something that helps me out. I was the type of person when I was in debate, our coach my partner was the type of person that responded more, I think, to positive motivation. I think I respond better to negative motivation. So, what the heck did you do wrong? Except usually it wasn't as polite as that. So, yeah, feel free if you see me not losing weight or something to call me out. That's best. I was just thinking, if I'm going to preach about personal responsibility, maybe, just maybe, I should take a little personal responsibility for myself. So, I just wanted to put a little video together. It's okay to call me a hypocrite, because I am, like almost every person. I try to be as limited as possible, but I realized that instead of just putting all of my energy into focusing on, what I think are problems wrong with the country and things like that, I also need to focus on problems with me. So losing weight's a big one. I think I also have to do other things. I got stuff around the house. I got to get more motivated to do stuff that directly impacts my life. I want to read more, get more information. One of the things that's tough is, with as much as I work and then my free time trying to do these videos and stuff, I've lost time for improving myself in other ways. So, oftentimes when I find myself debating someone, bird almost hit you. When I find myself debating someone or having a discussion with someone, it's almost their full-time position to be a content creator, or they're in Congress. It's their full-time position. So I'm watching Rosenstein's testimony, and I'm flabbergasted that as someone who's just doing this, not getting paid, as an amateur in my free time, how do I know more about this case than the supposed people that we've elected that are supposed to be representing us? So that's the thing. The other thing is, along with that, I also got to find, I'm not giving recommendations to people, just giving my point of view. You live your own life. I can't. Far be it from someone whose life, I have a great life, by the way, but who am I in a position to give everyone advice on life? I have a great life because I'm lucky, because I was born with awesome parents, because I have an awesome wife, I have an awesome family, I like my job. So, I'm lucky. I recognize that. But just some thoughts I had. I feel like one of the things I need to do, and maybe this could help you, is I'm not a depressed person. I actually like trying to help the country out, like doing videos like this. But I do have to find time for entertainment, relaxing, and things like that. So this was a crazy week. It was. I stand by everything I've said this week and all the videos and everything that I've done. The COVID situation, the riots, I stand by everything I've said. But I also need to understand that there's, I need to also have some time for me in my life and my family in my life. So I felt like I put a little too much into it this week. Not just what you're seeing with the videos and stuff, but just the research, the preparation, I bet I haven't gone to bed before 4 a.m. all week. I get up for work at 7 a.m., so I've been running on 2-3 hours of sleep. So I finally get off work here.
that's why you see me doing a lot of videos real late at night. Well, that's why, because I work until then. So I put in, what my shift was this week, 110 hours work, plus then all the time I'm doing. So I got this debate tonight. I don't know if it's a debate or more of a discussion, but I'll put a link out to that later. I'll probably put this up here in a bit.
Well, there's Dorothy.
Yeah,
my dog.
It's okay. I'll title the video "Fat Shame Me, Please," but it's just about gotta improve myself in other ways, take time up for myself. So, all right. I mean, sorry I couldn't do this live for some reason. That little trip. If I had one way, I get internet reception. If I had the other, I don't. So this would have been live. Instead, it's just a roadside ramble that wasn't live. So, we say goodbye, dogs. Okay. We're doing good here. It's nice to live in rural Pennsylvania. It's nice to have a sunny day. So, thanks everyone. Have a good one.
Well, there you go. Cruz. I can't believe there's a video with Cruz in it. Cruz is the man. My dog Dorothy also saw making appearance. But that video that was during COVID. So that was filmed 5 years ago, June 5th, 2020. And I sort of remember that time period. Right? Well, back there in June, I was doing debates like fucking damn near every night on COVID. And I was furious. I was fucking yelling and screaming. I was talking to Republican officials. And just like, what the fuck are we doing? This 15 days to slow the spread. I was fucking outraged. Still to this day, I'm fucking outraged about that shit. And I remember, hey, who raided? Well, thank you, whoever raided. Oh, Mr. Rattlesnake. Speaking of working hard, moderating debates, putting out content, making excellent Brian Shapiro videos. What's that? Another Brian Shapiro mention? No way!
He harasses women in messages, has a weird infatuation with men's organs. He's a syndicated radio host, and it's all about respect. He's Brian Shapiro.
Oh, Brian Shapiro. Jake, thank you so much for the raid. What's Jake think about my clever song there about Brian Shapiro? They can't all be winners. Thanks, though, Jake. Appreciate it. Hope the debate you moderated was enjoyable. I caught like 5 seconds of it. I will not show my penis. It will not happen. Brian Shapiro, it's not my penis he wants to see. It's your penis. I'm just in between you and him. So I'll be damned if he ever sees my penis. Loved his clips from Jesse Lee Peterson show. I have not watched any of him debating Andrew, though, today. So we're just talking a little about this debate that Jake moderated, which I watched zero of. But my audience was telling me what was going on. And I'll just summarize the past hour and a half of my content, which was basically this. It is absolutely amazing to me how fucking petty people are, and that their attack against Andrew and Rachel is still as bad as what it is. Oh, but you have kids to a previous relationship. It's nonsensical. Part of it's because they conflate Andrew with Red Pill, which he's not, and then most of it's just outright jealousy. And I was just explaining why it's easy for me to not be jealous, because I'm fine being a country bumpkin my whole life. I don't give a shit. And, we were talking about, like, Brian Shapiro when he says to me, oh, you're 100 fans. I have more than 100 people that watch me, but even if I didn't, 100's amazing. I just don't give a shit. I don't care if I ever leave the country. I don't care if I ever leave the little town I'm in. I don't care if I die pretty broke. I just don't give a shit. I'm very happy. I love my family. I don't need to be the person out front and center. So I'm not going to get upset if Andrew or Jake or Rachel or people like Cool Vic or Speakeasy or anyone's channels blow up way beyond mine and do amazing. I'm like, that's fucking great. Good for you. But so many people in the space, they can't have that. They can't watch someone have success. Oh, Andrew did Joe Rogan's show. That's bullshit. We need to, for our brand, we need to attack him. We need to get some clout by attacking him. And it's like, there's no problem with that if you're, like, attacking arguments and shit like that. But it's out of a place of jealousy, and it just becomes the dumbest, repetitive shit over and over again. It like, that's it. What more is there to say? Oh, yeah, but Rachel, you had kids to a previous relationship. Okay? What do they think's going to happen? That like the thousands upon thousands of people that watch Andrew are going to be like, what's this? I haven't heard of this. I'm tuning out now. Sorry, I just can't deal with that. Like, who gives a fuck? Oh, is that what it was? She was upset because Rachel didn't call out Jewish people enough? I've said my piece on that topic. I mentioned this on the extravaganza there Thursday, but it's like, look, if you're watching and you think like Israel's responsible for the vast majority of the problems in the United States, here's what I'll say to you. Like, I disagree with the Iran conflict. I think that Israel does have too much influence. If it was up to me, we would never send another dime to Israel. I think that a lot of these like aggressive going after speech of people that have criticized Israel goes too far in many ways. I believe all of that. I think we should primary people that are more focused on foreign policy and just want to focus on domestic policy. That includes people like Ted Cruz. I think we should excoriate Trump for focusing too much on foreign policy. And if you hear all of that, and then I say, but I don't know, I think a lot of this anti-Israel hate's overblown. I don't think they're responsible for as much of the bad shit as people say. And your response to me is, fuck you! Did you get paid $7,000? I think you're doing more harm to your overall goal than you are having success. You know, the analogy I gave yesterday in the extravaganza was this. If I'm a car salesman and I go to our friend Clayton Gordon here and I say, Clayton, let me tell you, man, this car right here, this is the car for you, my man, because let me tell you, there is no car on the market that has a more reliable engine and transmission than this car right here. It's going to be perfect for you. And Clayton says to me, you know, I disagree. I've done my research. I don't particularly like the engine and transmission of this car. However, those bench seats are fucking amazing. So yeah, I'm in. I'll buy the car. And if my response is, fuck you, I'm not selling you this car, you piece of shit. If you don't think the transmission and engine are great, go fuck yourself. I'm sort of hurting my cause there, aren't I? I said, okay, great. We both want the same thing at the end of the day. We're both pushing for the same thing. We may have different reasons, but we're pushing in the same direction. Sounds good to me. But so many of these anti-Jew people, they can't take a victory. They have to sell beyond the sell. They're arguing past the sell. Yeah, I don't like the war. I'll give you an example. The first time I was on Tim Pool's show, I was on with this guy, what was his name? Ian? No, it wasn't Ian. Liam Cosgrove, I think was his name. I did the morning show with Tim Pool, and he was like, hey, man, you want to stick around and do the evening show? I said, yeah, no problem. He said, my guest is this Liam guy. So I got to talking to this Liam guy an hour before the show, and his big thing was he don't like Israel. So I'm like, oh, okay. It was amazing because he'd never heard about the USS Liberty, which blew my mind as someone who's like, Israel's your top issue. It's like, you haven't heard that? So we were talking a lot of that. And we go on Tim's show, and they get in this big Israel debate. And I'm pissed because I wanted to talk about shit unrelated to Israel. I wanted to talk about domestic shit. Like, at this point, it had just broke that, like, Fannie Willis was banging her fucking assistant, and they got taken off the case. And so that's what I was there to talk about. So I'm like, come on, let's wrap up the Israel shit. And Liam basically gets Tim to concede, yes, we should no longer send any money to Israel. But he keeps going. And finally I looked at Liam and was like, he's already agreed with you. What? Why are you still out? You'd be like, okay, cool. Maybe another day you bring it up, or, you know, but it's like the hostility of someone who's like on the key thing right now. Yeah, stop funding Israel. Yep. Okay. You know? And I don't understand it. It's like you're just going to sit here and argue. And then what happens when you do that is the people that were sort of on your side, they start to be like, you know what? Never mind. Fuck you. Because you're being a prick about it. So I don't particularly know what this debate was with this lady and Andrew. But if that's what it was, if it was over Israel, it's like, what the fuck ever. Whatever. And here's the other thing, right? Like, you got to know when to pick your battles. Does anybody remember, if you're an Andrew Wilson fan,
You might remember. You remember the show Politically Provoked? Anybody remember that? It was like Brittany something, and Andrew used to be like the resident debater on the show. You guys remember that? I see the donos. I promise I'm about to read them. You guys are great. Man, big memberships coming in. Thank you so much. There we go. We got people that remember Politically Provoked. Now, Politically Provoked, part of what they were claiming, like they brought on some of the like more edgy, like Groyper type people that would come on, right? Which, okay, fine. But one of their things were, well, you know, free speech. We should be able to say what we want. We're tired of fucking only white people being told that they can't use slurs and fucking other people. And by the way, I agree. If you want to shout a hard R, shout away. I don't give a fuck. Don't care. Doesn't matter to me. But you know what the consequence is going to be on YouTube. You fucking know it. You know what's going to happen. Don't fucking act surprised when YouTube says, fair enough, you're banned. And you're going to be like, wait, what? No. Well, we took a principled stance. Cool. Now how many people are you streaming to? How'd that principled stance work out? You have to be smarter than that. There's all types of shit that YouTube restricts me from saying that I wish I could say, and I would talk about more. By the way, that's one of the reasons I like doing the extravaganza over on Rumble. You have more freedom. But just because I don't like it doesn't mean I'm going to sabotage my own channel by intentionally violating the terms of service. That's stupid. The truth is, you can't just roll over for everything in life. That's true. At some point, you have to make stands. But you also don't just become hyper-confrontational in every situation. You have to pick your battles. If you were, I think one of the people that was a big influence on me was actually, it's one of the things I'll always be thankful for doing Word War, that I got to talk to Stefan Molyneux. Big Stefan Molyneux fan. He was a big influence on me. Stefan basically got fucking canceled over race realism shit. I think it's outrageous. That's even more outrageous than banning people for the N-word shit. Why shouldn't you be allowed in a scientific capacity to talk about genetic differences between races and IQ differences? You absolutely should be allowed to talk about that shit. Even if you're like, we don't want racism, fine. If someone uses that to be bigoted and shout slurs, okay, I get it. But the idea that you can't even assess the data, it seems absurd. But it doesn't matter that I feel that way. I saw what happened to Stefan Molyneux and a bunch of other people like that. I saw what happened. And so what good would it do for me to come on and be like, well, I'm going to do the same thing. Okie dokie. Stefan was way bigger than me. I'm going to get pushed aside the same as he did. And then what? I guess you have your moral victory, but what good is it? A lot of the Israel stuff's like that. Now, the anti-Israel crowd might say, isn't that proof of our position? Maybe. Or it's not proof of your entire position, but it's certainly true. That's a hot button issue. They'll crack fucking skulls over the idea of anti-Semitism. And yet, there is a community of people that insist each and every topic you talk about goes in that direction. Now, it doesn't matter to them if I get banned, or if Jake gets banned, or if Andrew gets banned. They'll just find another content creator to watch. No problem. But if you're actually trying to make changes and using the platform to reach people, well, it's a big mistake. Just start dropping N-bombs on stream. And it gets even more ridiculous than that. Like, you'll actually have people, you know, there was a person the other day, ironically, the day before the Southern Poverty Law Center story broke, where we see basically anti-hate organizations are paying the very hate groups that they say that they're fighting. So you'll get these people, most of the time it's some dude with an anonymous account. You know, his account name will be like, you know,
true patriot or some shit like that. And he'll be like, that's it. That we can't vote anymore. Voting's stupid. Engaging the process, it's all stupid. When are we going to start using force? When are we going to start using violence? It's time to take back our country. And I'll be like, hey man, don't be fucking Fed posting. Oh, you're a fucking coward. Why won't you talk about it? One, I don't think it's time for violence. Truly, I don't morally. And I certainly don't think it's true strategically. That's how I honestly feel. I've had that conversation probably 40, 50 times on my channel. Why? But secondly, let's say for a second that I did, which I don't. I'm telling you, in all honesty, I don't support this sort of violence. But what if I did? Do you think it's smart for me, robnoerr, who ran for Congress in District 12 of this great state of Pennsylvania, who still helps people write campaign speeches, who helps people involved in the Republican Party in Pennsylvania, whose public address is known, who uses his real name doing a YouTube channel to come on and announce that we should use violence against the federal fucking government? You think that's smart? And yet, whether it be some stupid fucking person who's just a complete imbecile saying this, or it's someone Fed posting, getting paid by the feds or someone else to do it, I see that shit once a month at least. And you just shake your head. You're like, what the fuck are you doing? You're either intentionally doing this or you're the dumbest fucking human being alive. I know, there's certain places where there are people that have the same problems I have with society. I'm going to intentionally sabotage their community. Ha ha! It's so fucking stupid. So for me, it's like, I don't understand, like, if I'm watching, like, if I'm Nick Fuentes, and I see Andrew Wilson, I'm going to be like, I'm not going to pick a fight with Andrew. And it's not because he believes with Andrew with everything. It's because Andrew's not directly attacking me. A lot of what Andrew believes I think is good for the country. I have limited time and resources. I'm going to focus over here on these folks. But so many people in that audience, they can't help themselves. Nope, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over to Andrew's channel. I'm going to go to Jake's channel. I'm going to go to Rob's channel. And even though they agree with 95% of fucking the problems in our country, I don't think they blame the Jewish folks enough. So I'm going to keep hammering it home. I'm going to keep going. You're a coward. You won't say it. It's just so frustrating to me. It's like, I don't understand what you're trying to accomplish. I don't want to fund Israel anymore. I think Israel has too much influence. I don't like the Iran war. I think Trump's focusing too much on foreign policy. I also don't think it's exclusively because of Israel. But what's it matter? I still want to stop it. I remember the first time I heard this. Rachel, what's up? Why won't you name them, Rob? I remember, this was 3-4 years ago. I was watching Andrew one day, just like at work driving, and I have Andrew's, and he's using the term name them. I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? And then finally one day, I don't even think I asked him. I asked someone in my audience. I was like, yeah, I think at that point he was even going by Big Papa Fat. I'm like, BPF? The other day he was talking, what the fuck's a name them? And they were like, oh, this is fucking, the people are, why won't you name them? The Jews, why won't you name them? It's like, oh, that's a pretty good name. I wonder if Andrew came up with that. I don't know. What's up, Reese? Are you talking to me? I didn't delete anything. I haven't. If you're saying I lost a subscriber for deletion, maybe you're talking to someone else. I didn't delete anything. Name them. Why won't you name him? Why won't you name him? Name him. Name the person who wants to see my penis.
He harasses women in messages, has a weird infatuation with men's organs. He's a syndicated radio host, and it's all about respect. He's Brian Shapiro.
Name him. Name them. Now maybe it'll come out that Brian Shapiro is like, maybe he's Jewish, maybe he's a Mason. What other groups can we just lump in to make everyone happy? Am I missing any? What other groups do we have? We'll make Brian Shapiro like our version of Donald Trump. Every group you can imagine he's a member of that we dislike. He's Jewish, he's a Templar, he's a Mason. Yes. We'll get him. We'll get him. He's part of the Vatican. He's Muslim. LGBT. Yes, yes. Skull and Bones. Oh, shit. He's a member of the World Economic Forum and Mexican. I can see it. Let's look here. I don't know. Looks like he's part fungus. I don't know. Are there like, do we dislike fungal people? Club of Rome. Yeah. There we go. Now we can start to come together. See? Now all the factions on the right, we can all come together. Jesse Lee Peterson was leading the charge. Amazing, right? Did you see Jake's? I don't know why I laugh so hard at this. Oh my goodness. Jake's little video. I'm sure it'll get me demonetized because it's probably some song that's fucking copyrighted, but I don't care. I'm commenting on this. It's fair use, and it's a creation. This, I don't know why. Some of the shit Jake does makes me laugh so hard. I thought this was so funny. This is what he put out for his audience in honor of Brian Shapiro being on Jesse Lee Peterson. Here we go.
I never thought that my Savior'd come. I think it's amazing. I think you're amazing. You're a buffoon. I think you're amazing. You're a zero. You are a moron, Jeff. You have an IQ of like 20.
Amazing.
Amazing. Ah, shit. It's so good. The AI did make him look good. I can't say shit. Everyone that does an AI of me, I always look like I'm fucking ripped. I'm the fattest piece of shit in the world. And the AIs always make me look good. So I can't say anything. Amazing. Super chats. I've been slacking tonight. I haven't even read one, and we're up to 31. Rapid fire super chats, ladies and gentlemen. Nico Pluto, $2 says, I've been meaning to ask, how's my back? Pretty good. So for those that don't know, I have a pretty serious herniated disc in my back, which is sort of a bummer. I was doing very good losing weight and exercising and shit, and the herniated disc has really fucked with me. So I've been struggling with it for about 2 years. Let's see if I can find a picture of it. Let's see. How do I do this? Inbox, search mail, this, from this guy. I'll show you a picture here. Yeah, everybody likes that, right? Do, 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 do. What date are we at here? We gotta. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. I'll find it. What I got to do is just save it to my computer instead of just having it through the email. That would be smart. Mm-hmm. Gotta be an easier way than this. This is fun. Rob trolling his fucking, Rob trolls his email looking for a picture of his fucked up back. Yay. Almost. Check one more. How is this possible? It's way far back. All right. Well, fuck it. I can't find it, and now I'm miserable. And it pisses me off. I got the one super chat, and I already can't find the damn picture I'm looking for, which I've showed a dozen times on this channel. What is my problem? Why can I not find that? It's frustrating. I have a bad back. That's what it comes down to, okay? It's just bad. It's just in general bad. It's not a good thing. Man, I'm such a weird, neurotic person. Like, it's no big deal. No one gives a shit. No one cares at all. Like, no one. Everyone in the chat's like, who gives two shits about this? And yet, the rest of the night, I'm going to be like, son of a bitch. Why can't I find that picture? It's very aggravating. I'm a weird person like that. The fuck would I even title it as? It's very aggravating. Well, the back's fine. Next, Polly Shortcuts. $2 says, recouping your loss to the Nigerian hacker. Thank you so much. Thank you. How long, Nate? $10 says, hit the like, you goobers. Y'all giving fans a bad name. Thank you. And then another 10 says, I dated a gal who did that for a group home. 12 residents in similar mental development. It was heartbreaking and annoying. Yeah, I was talking earlier about a lot of times, it's arrogant to say, a lot of these times when you're debating people now online, it's not just that they don't know the subject they're talking about. It's like they don't even understand simple argument structure. And for me, I think I was lucky because I don't think I'm particularly too intelligent. And I have friends that were like, didn't even graduate high school, like failed out. But my group of friends, we argued and talked all the time. And we all just intuitively know how an argument works. And so it's incredibly frustrating to me over and over to deal with people online. And I'm not talking about like, do you know the 3 laws of logic? Do you know what a syllogism is? Do you know what all the fallacies are? I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about simple shit like understanding like just how a chain of an argument follows. You think this? Yeah. Okay, well, how does that connect to what you think over here? Those two things aren't exactly the same. Right, but you see the connection. Huh? So what I was saying is, I'm going to try to be more patient now because as arrogant as this sounds, it's almost like I have to draw from my experience of working with people that had autism, which I did in my former job. And I was explaining, a lot of times what would happen is you go into work and let's say you're there 5 days in a row, 24 hours a day, and you might work with someone who's obsessed with numbers. And it's just the same question hundreds of times a day. And you can't flip out. You can't be like, just shut the fuck up. You have to be like, yeah, it's okay. And even if you're just like, I'm going to leave the room, that could cause a situation. So you have to learn to sort of process it and try to be polite. That's how I feel a lot of times now in these debates with some of the weaker people that you debate. It's like, it's not even like, it's fine to be like, I don't know much about this subject. Perfectly fine. It's fine to be wrong about things, but you'll debate people that just don't even understand. Like last night I'm in a debate, and we're talking about Christian nationalism, and the woman reads her opening statement that's pre-written, okay, and then I don't have a pre-written statement, I just riff, okay, and then I am like, look, I define Christian nationalism as basically this, the belief that Christians should use their faith in order to come to a moral framework that influences how they want to change culture and politics. And they should vote for people that also are Christians who want to do the same and have them enact laws that support that vision. That's Christian nationalism to me. Doesn't mean that the Pope's in charge, or that Orthodox are in charge, or the Protestants are in charge, or that we have an official state religion, or that we ban other religions, or that every one of the 10 commandments is written into the legal system. That's not how I'm defining Christian nationalism. That's fine. We can debate the definition of Christian nationalism. My opponent concedes, though. Yes, your definition is also Christian nationalism. Great. And then the entire debate, I'd be like, but wait a minute. You've already accepted that Christian nationalism is Christians using their preferences to influence culture and vote. Do you think that atheists should be allowed to do that? Sure. Do you think that Muslims should be allowed to do that? Sure. So why not Christians? They should. Okay. Then you concede the debate. You say that Christian nationalism is what I say it is, and you say that's good. They should be allowed to do that. And then in response to that, she just goes back and reads her definition. And I'm like, but you already conceded my definition. And she just rereads her opening statement. And it's like, do you not understand the chain of a debate? You made a claim, I pushed back, you conceded I was right, and now we move forward. But no, you're just like, you're going to skip the concession and go back here, and then I have to say, but you conceded, right? Yeah. Okay, then this argument no longer matters, because you conceded. So now we move forward. But what about this argument? But you conceded. This argument, right? Yeah. Okay, then we move forward. Yeah, but this argument. Now do that for 3 hours. And every part of me wants to be like, what the fuck are you doing? Are you a fucking imbecile? What is the utility of talking to someone like this? But instead, I was like, well, I think I've already explained this, so let's see if we can move the debate in a different direction. And I tried my best to be calm, because a lot of people give me shit and say from time to time, perhaps I should be a little more calm. So I really tried. But yes, it can be frustrating working in those homes. AJC, $50 says, coming in late. Here's some support for Rob. Hashtag Rob2. Hashtag Penisgate. $50. Thank you so much, AJC. Really appreciate it. Paulie Shortcuts, $5 says, I love the debate story. Thanks. I couldn't form an argument in my life dependent on. Look, that's the other thing. Like, even in the streaming space, here's the truth. Like, sometimes you just have to be honest where your strengths lie. Right? I'll tell you a story. There was this guy. He goes by the name I'm Really Important. He's a left-winger. He does a lot of, like, I cover C-SPAN. You know. And he's been doing, like, the Unfuck America tour and stuff, which is laughable based on what I'm about to say. He also was the guy who was in the Offspring Pretty Fly for a White Guy video. He's the white guy. He is not pretty fly. And to be quite honest, as a fellow white man, I'm not too keen to claim him as one of our own. But it is what it is. He debated me a couple times, and the last time he debated me, it was a bloodbath. Had to do with Ukraine. And he knew it. He won't admit it, but he knew it. And so we were supposed to have a debate coming up with a moderator. And I messaged him, said, hey, you want to do this? Or a moderator asked me or something. I don't remember the specific details. But I messaged him and said, you want to do this debate? And he responded to me and was like, I'd sooner not debate you anymore. I prefer to stay in my bubble. Okay? Now, I wouldn't have said anything, but he actually then publicly said it on his channel. He's like, I don't want to debate, Rob. I'm just going to stay in my bubble. Now, that's sort of embarrassing, right? But here's the honest truth. Why debate if you're shit at it? There's no shame in that.
debate, what is the ultimate purpose of you streaming? Well, it could be different for different people. Maybe it's to make money. Maybe it's to influence politics and culture. Maybe it's to win debates. But if your goal is to change culture and change our political system and influence people, guess what? Debate's not necessary. You could be look at Hasan. Who the fuck's he debating? What incentive does Hasan have to debate anyone? All he's going to do is expose himself for being fucking horrible. So better to just be a fucking himbo and be eye candy for the ladies and spout your communist bullshit and not with no one to push back. Why fuck with that? He's smart not to. Like, he's smart enough to realize how dumb he is. But the truth is, I talk to the people a lot. Like, even with just public speaking, when I was at Baker, there's a lot of people like, oh, I'm just no good at public speaking. You could do things to improve, but guess what? It's okay. It's not the end of the fucking world. So what? I mean, I just imagine, like, some of these blue-collar dudes I know in life that don't give two shits about politics, whatever. They go to church every Sunday. They're a welder or something. You know, married, have kids. I don't want to talk about politics. I imagine, like, Jay Dyer debating them, right? And just being like, well, you know, you're claiming to have truth claims. Where do those come from? Blah, blah, blah. And they would just be like, what? Yeah, whatever, dude. You're smarter than me. Anyways, I got to get back to work. They wouldn't think twice. Does that make them any less of a person? No. I'd say, well, I think Jay won that argument. Okay, so? Right? So it's like, even if you're not a good debater, it's all right. There's other shit going on. Oh, look at that. We reached the goal. Goal! Thank you so much. More super chats. We're going to be here all night. Naughty Germ, $5 as always. Thank you so much, my friend. The mostly peaceful Polynesian. $5. Thanks. Says, Rob, would you ever consider coaching again or a virtual debate coaching business? Could be another revenue stream. I, for one, would be interested. Well, I did work on Andrew Wilson's feminist debate course. Sure, I would be. It's something I would consider. I would. As far as coaching collegiate debate and high school debate, I probably wouldn't get back into that. As much as I'm thankful that I did it, a lot of that community's fucking joke. And they don't particularly like right-wingers, and I'm not interested in fighting the good fight there anymore. I got other shit going on. But sure, I'm open to doing, like, debate, you know, coaching online to help people out. But it's not the same as, like, Andrew's debate course is completely different than how I would go. I don't mean it that way. Different people debate different ways, and different people would coach in different ways. So I've done debate lessons over on the Crucibles Debate Club. I hope that people find them useful. But yeah, I would be one of the things I try to do a lot of debate reviews and give my opinions on that. And I have considered, I don't want to step on anyone's toes, but I'll tell you an idea that I've been kicking around. I'm considering doing a panel show, maybe akin to Verbal Combat or something, where I just have, like, regulars or anyone that wants to come up, as long as we vet them a little, come up and debate, and the audience could force them into different debates and whatever. And the difference would be I would actually be in the moderator capacity, ask both sides questions, and then I would give my honest opinion who I thought won the debate afterwards, which is a little different. Most of the time you don't want the moderator to be that involved, but the intent would be that it's
specific that I am getting involved. So I would let the participants know that so that they weren't upset. Now, the two problems with that are, well, three. One, I'm not trying to steal other people's content, and I know there's a great many people that are doing debate panels, right? So I'm not trying to screw that over. I will definitely be doing Jim Bob Scott event. I definitely will. And then the other two problems are finding people to keep the debate interesting, and then people get pissed off when you say, I think you lost this debate. They get pissed. I get pissed. I try to measure myself, but people get pissed. Like, imagine that Avarice is debating, Are We Not Men? And I'm like, I think you won Are We Not Men. You can see Avarice being like, no, you're fucking wrong. And I would have to be like, I disagree. It's just my opinion. And we'll do an audience vote as well. So I'm just one person. I think that I have a background in debate, and I think I'm pretty good at debate. So I think I'm a good person to judge debate because I've tried to judge debates, limiting my bias as much as possible. But, Robert Whaley's in, but only if I take a spicy pick in a Crucible jacket. I'm not showing my penis! Name him! Name him!
He harasses women in messages, has a weird infatuation with men's organs. He's a syndicated radio host, and it's all about respect. He's Brian Shapiro.
Always trying to get me to show hog. Next! Darth Jeff! What's happening, my man? $20 says he debated Myron. Laughed my ass off. Who are we talking about that debated Myron? See, this is the problem when this super chat was from over an hour ago. Who were we talking about that debated Myron? Oh, Andrew. Yeah. Yeah, he did. Thank you, Darth Jeff. Vortome, what's up, my man? $10 says, I agree with Andrew on religious marriage, but I'm worried that with the OnlyFans to Christian grifter pipeline, there will be an increase of marital issues even in Christian marriages. They hold huge influence. Well, it's a difficult conversation because here's the thing, right? Like, being a Christian, and I want to be clear here, I am in no position to lecture anyone or educate people on Christianity. I know very little myself. I call myself a Christian, but by my own admission, I'm a very poor one. I've only started going to church since Charlie Kirk was killed, and I still haven't picked a denomination. I go to a Catholic church, but I have not taken communion. So much of the spirit of what people accept with Christianity is the forgiveness aspect of it. And thank God, right? That's the whole, God gave his son so that we may be forgiven. So you can see why it's easy to focus on that. But to me, it's one thing to say that spiritually someone could be forgiven, and it's another thing for how we accept that in our society. So I could accept even someone who's a prostitute, etc., in the eyes of the Lord, can accept Christ as our Savior and be saved. I accept that. But that, to me, does not mean that person's then in a position to lecture people on Christianity. And it's constantly like we talked about this the other week. I have a video up about this, about the guy who was like, he's like an online pastor, and he's like, my wife used to be a cam girl, and she slept around, and in some ways, she's more virtuous than virgins. Like, no, dude, no, she's not. No. And one of the things even when I went to like a Pentecostal church when I was young, it always stuck out to me. Even back then, I mean, shit, this is 30 years ago. And not that 25 years ago, 27 years ago. The way that people would like brag about their sins. Hey, we got a speaker here today. He's going to, hey, what's up, everyone? Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I used to be in a biker gang. Oh, man, we used to we'd pass chicks around. We'd hook up 6, 7 chicks a night. We were doing drugs, fist fights. I stabbed a man. I'm not proud of any of it. It's like, it kind of sounds like you're proud of it. I don't mind someone humbly telling you, like, look, I fucked up. I made mistakes. God could still accept you. That's fine. I get that. But you want to know who I want to hear from? How about the guy that his whole life accepted Christ and has been living his life the right way. How about that? Why do we never hear from those people? Not interesting enough, I guess? For me, that to me is the guy like, wow, that's amazing. That doesn't mean that, like, the first guy can't get accepted into hell. I'm not suggesting that at all. But I'm just saying. And so if you're an OnlyFans chick and then you stop your content and within a month or two you find yourself doing Christian content online, I'm not saying that you're not really saved, but I'm saying there's a damn good chance that you're a grifter. That you're just trying to monetize everything about your life. And when it comes to Christianity, I think that's absurd. I don't think that's the point. Have some humility. If you've recently been engaging in a serious sin, like creating pornography, have some humility and step out of the limelight for, 10, 20, 50 years. How about that? You still be saved, still go to church. Maybe you'll get married and you'll have a loving marriage and you'll have to explain to your children someday why you did pornography. But hey, I wish you well. But no, I don't have to pretend that there's not a better than not chance that you're treating us like dupes because we have a religion that's the truth that allows for forgiveness. And you think that means that we have to celebrate your obvious grift. Now, I'm not interested in sitting here and pointing the finger at this person here and this person here. If it comes up, I'll say it. And it's hard to know exactly with each individual person what's in their heart. But the preponderance of circumstantial evidence suggests if you stop doing OnlyFans and then 3 months later, all of a sudden you're selling courses on how to be a good Christian, that you're probably full of shit. Just saying. No different than, I get accused of a heinous crime. Now all of a sudden I'm Christian. Buy my book. I'm allowed to be skeptical and dubious. And the guy I want to hear from is not that guy. I want to hear from the guy that's like, actually, I've been Christian my entire life. And I married my high school sweetheart, and we have 4 kids. And I've worked hard my whole life. And I go to church 2 days a week. That's the guy I want to hear from. I think I have more to learn from him, is what I think. So. Cody H, thanks so much. $20. Says, I watch you for your integrity in providing your honest opinion and arguments on current events and political corruption, while consciously removing as much bias as possible. In that regard, Dance Monkey. Thank you, man. That means a lot. I try my best. I do. Over on Rumble, Mangozi, $10 says, this is definitely not going towards a whip song. Thank you, Mangozi. Robert Whaley, 10 memberships. Thank you so much, my friend. Zapolaba, $5 says, I find you to be honest. Appreciate it. Thank you, man. Tengu, I learned what that meant the other night. Tengu VPR says, love you, Rob. Thank you, Tengu. Wade Boggs, $20 says, so we decided to do a thing. For every $20 dono, we'll play the jaunty Brian Shapiro tune. All right, we could do that tonight. $20 dono, we'll play the Brian Shapiro tune. Fine. Thank you, Wade. Caleb, $2 says, keep killing it, Rob. You're an amazing creator. Thank you. Robert Whaley, $5 says, looks like a chill doggo. Give him a pat for me. I will see that dog tomorrow. So tomorrow, we're having Boys Day. So me, 2 of my brother-in-laws, and my father-in-law, and my son are going to pick up a chicken coop for my father-in-law's house. So we're going to go out for lunch. Then we're going to go pick up this chicken coop. And I'm sure I'll get to see poor Cruz, the dog that was in that video with me. Here, I'll show you real quick. One sec. This video from 5 years ago I did in the car. But this is my in-law's dog. That's Cruz. And this video is 5 years ago. Cruz is an old man now. I think he's like 14 or 15 years old. He's having a lot of health problems. But he's a really good dog. He is. Very calm. So I will definitely give him a pet tomorrow. Ozma, $20 says, you're a warrior for all that is good and true, King. Thank you. Thank you for fighting the good fight. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Picnic Table, $10 says he's between a rock and a hard place. Am I right? Thank you. Hellstorm, $10 says this Friday after work, beer hitting my hand like Mjolnir. I'm impressed I knew how to pronounce Mjolnir. Clayton Gordon, 4 months a member. Thank you, my friend. Blasterbot, $5 says, betting on interesting drama farmers don't realize why people don't watch them. Yeah, it's one of the things, like the people that attack Andrew like that. Why's he got people watching him? That's bullshit. I'm going to make a video about his kids. Stateside Clash, 4 months a member, says, would you ever debate Nick Mattel on Israel? Sure. I don't know what there is to debate on Israel. My point on the whole Israel thing is I haven't done a deep dive on it. So, like when Tony came on the other night, happy to talk about it. I'm going to reach out to Jay Dyer and have him come on. I'd talk to Nick as well. All I'm doing is like, okay, outline the case, and I'll, like, Tony would be like, well, this happened. I'd be cool. Can we look at that? That's all I'm doing. I'm not saying you're an idiot. You're wrong. I'm just saying my initial opinion is I think it's overstated how much negative influence Israel has, that they're basically responsible for damn near every negative thing that occurs in our country. And that's my initial position. I feel pretty passionately about that. But I do feel that Israel has too much undue influence. They're worthy of criticism. We should stop sending them money. I dislike the direction that Trump is going with his focus on foreign policy. I agree with all that stuff. And then it's like, yeah, but will you debate on Israel? Sure. So I would be happy. And a lot of it will be like, okay, you made this claim. Let's look into this claim. That's all. But yeah, I would happily do it. Picnic table, 50 memberships. Thank you so much, man. Unbelievable generosity. Thank you. Robert Whaley gives 10 memberships. Amazing. Thank you. The Pseudo Master Chef. Thank you for a gifted membership, man. Looks like a delicious pizza. And then gifts another. Thank you so much. Wade Boggs, 20 memberships gifted. Thank you so much. Always appreciate it, man. Wrongful Lee, 2 months a member. Thank you. The amazing legend, Nico Pluto, $100, says, I believe in saying prayers for the Wilsons, the BPF and BHF that I know. They pay dearly for what they are doing. It's so easy to attack those that are successful. They're great people. Totally agree. Totally agree. And the more you put yourself out there, honestly advocating for things like Christianity or Western culture or men or people that are white, the more you go with those groups that we are just told as a society that you have to shame and you can't have pride in and they're the oppressors, blah, 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 the more you'll be attacked. And the more successful you become, the amount of those attacks will increase. And they'll get uglier and uglier. And that's a shame. It really is. But that's what it looks like. And so, yeah, I agree. I think that Andrew and Rachel have both really put themselves out there. And as such, that's put them in the public light. And the more success they get, the more that untalented, jealous people will attack them. Now, that's not to say if Andrew's doing a debate with someone about marriage and someone says, I disagree with how your marriage looks, fine. But it's so often just low-hanging fruit. It's just people that are jealous saying shit that doesn't even align with their worldview because they're just crabs in a bucket that are jealous trying to bring people down. Dark Brain, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. Robert Whaley, $5, says Jesse Lee Peterson was one of the first people I followed on YouTube. Amazing. We got to hear it one more time. Why not?
Never thought that my Savior would come. I think it's amazing. I think you're amazing. You're a buffoon. I think you're amazing. You're a zero. You are a moron, Jeff.
Hey,
you have an
Brian.
IQ of like 20.
Amazing.
Amazing. That's so funny. Ringian Guardian, $5 says, the reason you get along with Andrew is because you know how to handle people with autism. That's true. Just hand him a cigarette. You'll be all right. He's yelling at you like, here, smoke this. You'll be all right. Thank you, man. Menace to Sobriety, $2 says, she thought you were calling her vain, Rob. Yeah, that debate last night was rough. I know. Blasterbot, $10 says, sometimes arguing online just feels like being Man Ray arguing with Patrick. That yes, this is your wallet. Yes, it's your license. Is this your license? Yes. And it fell out of this wallet? Yes. And it fits right here in the wallet? Yes. So this must be your wallet. Nope. Yeah, that is a lot of it. Robert Whaley, 10 more, says, let's finish this goal for Austin Hall. That bastard. Thank you, man. And then finally, Pseudo Master Shep. New to debating, thanks for the $5. New to debating, but besides watching AW Speakeasy, Andrew Wilson Speakeasy, I've definitely learned some points from you as well. I'm just now participating. So fun. It is fun. Debating's fun. I'm glad to see people in our community getting involved with it. I really am. Why do I still have this up? Thanks, George Michaels. I used to watch this show, Kenny vs. Spenny. It was a funny show. And there was an episode where Kenny's always fucking setting up pranks against Spenny. I think it's very funny. Anyways, Kenny sets it up so Spenny thinks that he got a big contract offer in Hollywood or to write a book or something. And Spenny's like, good, I'm leaving. And Kenny's like pretending like he's jealous and he's crying. He's like, please don't leave me. I don't want to be the other guy in Wham. What a great insult. The other guy in Wham. Well, I looked up the other guy in Wham. You know what he does now? He restores basically medieval structures in Europe. So imagine like being like a home repair guy whose job is home repairing castles. That's basically what the other guy in Wham does. Thank you, Kate Thomas. I appreciate that. And George Michaels is dead. So, you know, the other guy in Wham sounds like shit's going all right. Now, I don't know. Was the other guy in Wham gay? That I don't know. It's pretty obvious, though, if you go back. It's amazing that people didn't realize George Michaels was gay. And I can understand why they wouldn't want that to come out at that time. Because basically, like, every fucking chick, like, born from, like, 1973 to 1980 had that poster of George Michael wearing the leather jacket with the cross earring from, like, the Faith album. Like, every teenage chick had that, you know. I always think it's funny. Like, it just goes to show you, like, the idea of, like, debauchery and how stupid it is. Like, there are certain celebrities you could look at in certain periods of times that literally could have probably hooked up with 90% of women in the world. Like, George Michaels, at the height of, like, his first solo album, probably could have hooked up with, like, any chick that he wanted in any town that he was in, save good Christian women that were, you know, going to stay and took their vows seriously. But other than that, any woman that was looking to hook up probably would have hooked up with George Michaels. Like, the world over. And he's gay. You know? And then, like, Michael Jackson. You know, I don't think Michael Jackson, by the way, I'll stick up, I don't think he was harming kids. I think it's blown out of proportion. But nonetheless. But you think of those people back then. And then it's like, you look at someone like Prince, and he seems like a weird son of a bitch, but he wasn't gay. You think Prince hooked up with a bunch of dudes? No! I'm keeping the dream alive that Prince wasn't gay. I'm a Prince fan. Tom Selleck. Yeah, there's definitely a generation of women that Tom Selleck was a heartthrob. Scribb says the Chad Castle restoration expert versus the virgin gay pop star. Yeah. No way. Prince was bi? Ugh. I remember I watched this documentary on Lemmy from Motorhead. And part of the documentary, they were talking about like guitar players and shit. And they were like, he's like, I remember one day someone asked me to go see Prince. And I was like, no thanks. Already saw a great guitar playing black man with a boa. Talking about Hendrix. He's like, fuck you. You're not as good as Hendrix. I was a big Motorhead fan. I like me some Lemmy. You know, it's funny though. You look at shit like that. Isn't it weird as a society? I'll say it, man. Lemmy's awesome, right? But Lemmy is a deadbeat dad, right? Sad. You watch that documentary and he like meets his son and his son's all about him, but his son's like an adult now, and you're kind of like, ugh. I want to love Lemmy, like I do. I want to be like, yeah, Lemmy, you know. And I guess where I fall on it's like, look, it's not cool being a deadbeat dad and shit like that. It's not. But I guess if someone's doing it, it's Lemmy. And I still like Lemmy. You think Joe Pesci's gay? I have a Mandela effect thing with Lemmy. In the movie Airheads, I always thought it was at the end where they're talking about being weird or something in there, like the crowd. I always thought it was Lemmy that yelled, I used to play Dungeons and Dragons. But I'm not so sure that it is. Rob Halford is definitely gay. Yeah, I mean, Halford talks about Halford from Judas Priest. Go figure. Gay. And the metal scene, they were the ones that started wearing like the black leather with the spikes and shit. And that was basically just his like, he's talked about this. That was like what the gay dudes were wearing to the club. But yeah, Halford, openly very gay. Well, you know what I find more interesting than celebs being bi? How about this? And I've talked to people. How about celebrities that are secretly Republican? And some of which are secretly Trump people. Oh, if I'm wrong about the restoring castles and shit. Oh my God. I am wrong. He doesn't do it for a living. He lives in a restored 15th century farm. Is what it is. So I think what it was I saw a thing of him restoring that. But apparently he just lives off of his royalties. But he lives in and is associated with his restored 15th century farm property in Cornwall with his long-term partner, Karen Woodward. A lady? So maybe he's not gay. I respect the celebrity that gracefully bows out. Like, you know what I was talking about the other day? Whatever happened to Phil Collins? My wife told me his daughter is a singer or an actress. But I remember like early South Park seasons, they were making fun of Phil Collins. Phil Collins is dead? No. Really? Oh my goodness. Are we breaking news here? No, he's not dead. He's 75. He has had multiple knee surgeries, back and spinal issues, and he does have 24-hour care. He said in early 2026, his condition's improving. He's considering making new music. But it's interesting how some celebrities like hang on, and even if they're not working, you see them opining about politics or stuff. And then some of them you don't hear about anymore. He toured not that long ago with his son on tour. Who's his daughter? Susan Collins? Is that her name? What's she sing? Or is she an actress? My wife told me this. Lily Collins? She's in a movie called Emily in Paris, or a show. She was in The Blind Side as Sandra Bullock's daughter. Oh, she was Ted Bundy's girlfriend in that extremely wicked, shockingly evil movie? Oh. Billy Idol. I'm a Billy Idol. Did you know that Billy Idol was the original person they thought to cast as the Terminator? Or one of them. Actually, I think OJ was first. But then he was in a bad bike wreck. That's probably another bullshit thing that I believe that's not true. Yeah. Pauly Shore's still wheezing. The Weasel, he's still going. Why can't they get their shit together and make Son-in-Law 2? I could write the script for the sequel to Son-in-Law in like 20 minutes. Simple. I love Billy Idol. I think Billy Idol's great. Son-in-Law 2. It's 30 years later. And now the Weasel, Pauly Shore, is running the farm. And he has several kids. And now he has a son who gets older. And the old story was he's the weird weasel guy from the city that comes in and then has fun interactions on the farm. Now it's the exact opposite. His kid's like, oh, this shit sucks. Farm life sucks, blah, blah, blah. I want to go out and do it. And the weasel has to go to like college, right? And the son's like, you're not going to fit in. You're just this farmer guy. But he's out there doing weasel shit, right? And convinces his son that farming's cool. Bam! Hour and a half movie. Hilarity ensues. Biodome 2, good, but Son-in-Law was my favorite. I love Son-in-Law. Oh, Karen. She's the hot chick from Bananarama, yeah. Encino Man, very good. Yeah. I also enjoyed Encino Man. All right. Now, before I move forward with the show here, I'd be remiss if I don't say, tomorrow we're going to be doing our special Chad of the Month stream. Your name, too, could be placed on our Chad of the Month board. It looks like this. Used to be Chad of the Week. We haven't done this in a while. Bam! My son wondered why I was putting letters on one day, and so we spelled his name. Wow! And then we'll make you an official song. And then, when you're the Chad of the Month, on that official song, we'll play it from time to time for the month, and then put it on a wheel. And then every once in a while, we could play that. Half-price whip songs, all stream tomorrow. Totally true. So that's going to be starting around 9 or 10 p.m. But it should be fun. And we'll fuck around, and who knows? Maybe even we'll have a special guest appearance. Wouldn't that be great?
He harasses women in messages, has a weird infatuation with men's organs. He's a syndicated radio host, and it's all about respect. He's Brian Shapiro.
Never know. So we're going to set a dono goal of $1,000 roos. We'll see if we get it there. So I'll explain the rules on how you become Chat of the Month tomorrow during the stream, but that should be a fun one. We've been streaming for a while. It's 1:30 in the morning. You know, I felt sick when I started this stream. I really did. And I feel a little better now. So I'm glad I streamed. I considered not doing it tonight. Flavius, my man, what's up? $10. Thanks, says, trust Hollywood like you trust West Taiwan, China. I don't. You don't trust Hollywood? That's a good policy. Let me check something real quick. All right. Now's the time of the show where I owe whip songs. Of course, objectively, the worst part of the show, I fucking hate it. The lore for you as follows. You see, this is my job now, and so I try to raise money. And people are incredibly generous, and I thank them for that. But I could do debates and argue with political people and this, that, and the other, and I'll make a small amount of money. But the majority of the money I get is because one time I did a stupid fucking song from this old Lord of the Rings cartoon called Where There's a Whip, There's a Way. My audience started harassing me, so I thought I'd be a smart ass and tell them that you have to donate $100 to play one of these songs. We made a bunch of versions of the song, and my asshole audience constantly torments me at the end of every show by making me play this shit. Routinely, what happens is 2/3 of the audience will immediately leave because it's objectively the stupidest fucking thing that anyone's ever seen. But away we go. Now, I think I owe 2 whip songs this fine evening. At this point, if you donate a singular $100 donation, that'll play 1 whip song from the wheel. If you donate $150, you could pick whichever song you want. And anytime we get over an even $100 amount at this point on, we play a whip song. So, right now, a donation of $28 would play 1 whip song because it'll get us to $400. A donation of $100 would play 2 whip songs, 1 for the $100 donation, and 2nd for getting us over $400. Rules explained. Play the fucking songs. Go to bed. Sorry for all of you that are leaving. I'll see you all tomorrow. I don't remember that one. Nico, $50. That'll be, unfortunately, another whip song. No chat of the week for me. The Wilsons are my weirdos. I shoo anyone. I'm so sick of those who attack them. Rob, make a choice. I'm in. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Granny hospice care. What's fucking wrong with this shit? So stupid. It's just stupid.
We don't wanna go to war today, but the Lord of the Lash says, nay, 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 we're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a hit, there's a way. Where there's a hit, there's a way. Where there's a whip, stay, there's a way. Where there's a hit, there's a way. There's a way. Left, right, there's a way. A clap on the back, say we're gonna fight. We're gonna march all day and night and more. For we are the slaves of the dark Lord's war.
Nice. Great. Awesome. Next. What the hell was that? Okay. Gazebo Glam Rock.
Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way.
That was some. Yay! Last one, unless we get more donos. Of course, the Jurassic Jamboree. How is anyone ever going to take me serious?
There's a way. There's always there's a way. There's always there's a way. There's always there's a way. Left, 2, 3. Where there's a way, there's a way. Where there's a way, there's a way. Where there's a way, there's a way. Where there's a way. Where there's a way, there's a way. Where there's a way, there's a way. Where there's a way, there's a way. Where there's a
Are we mercifully done? Is that it? Yeah, the Nigerian hacker did punk it. Hell, I'll give you a free song. Who could forget Coach Mim, our great crypto? You know, remember that? Our huge, super, mega American crypto show. Remember that? Oh, wasn't that, what good times, right? Wasn't that great?
Dollar on my mind, Naija on my plate. On my little phone, I dey buy a stage. Study with small change, that a bundle. Now my wallet heavy like Toyota Tundra. Neighbors in my house say, who be this uncle? I say, na small internet also no wahala. I shout, yes sir! When the chart go higher, eating fried plantain with American swagger. My mama asks, you sure say this thing legal? I say, mommy relax, I be digital eagle. Cryptocurrency, turn me to big baller. From one small room to mansion with crawler. New thunder outside, see the paint color. Everybody shout, I'ma send me the dollar. Cryptocurrency, money just a shower. 100,000 plus every blessed hour. I dey thank God, I dey thank my root. And now why my laugh on they sound like power. My guy dey vex say, teach me that thing. I say, first buy data make a hearing. He say, Omo, you can't dey speak for him. I say, bro, na accent of the winning team. I dey chop suya, but I talk like cowboy. Howdy, partner. As I count my coins, I stay at the jail. Look me like I be envoy. I pay outright, man, no fee, I enjoy. Cryptocurrency, turn me to big baller. From one small room to mansion with crawler. New thunder outside, see the paint color. Everybody shout, I'ma send me the dollar. Cryptocurrency, money just a shower. 100,000 plus every blessed hour. I dey thank God, I dey thank my root. And now I my laugh and they sound like power. From Okada to Tundra. From neighbor generator to solar.
Coach Mim!
We hell yeah, I'll become my coin to Zangala, Zanga. Cryptocurrency, turn me to big baller. From one small room to mansion with crawler. New thunder outside, see the paint color. Everybody shout, I'ma send me the dollar. Cryptocurrency, money just a shower. 100,000 plus every blessed hour. I dey thank God, I dey thank my root. And now why my laugh when they sound like power. Dollar on my mind.
Hey, there we go. The crypto business. You know, we have other fun songs, not just whip stuff. We got the I'm Speaking Now song. That's a good one. What about the Somali daycare song? You remember that one? I like this one too. We're not going to listen to it, but yeah, it's there. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, it's been a fun night. What? Oh, yeah. He has no idea what he's up against.
He harasses women in messages, has a weird infatuation with men's organs. He's a syndicated radio host, and it's all about respect. He's Brian Shapiro.
Oh, Brian Shapiro. Oh, thank you so much for a good show tonight, everyone. I really appreciate it. We're going to raid over to Speakeasy. He's doing Vertical Combat tonight. A little debating going on. You could even join in probably if you want. I thank you all. First, thanks to my editor, Black Elk, who is tremendous. Make sure you check it out. He's putting up shorts and videos up there. So if you like the live content, go over there. He puts it in a nice package for you so you don't have to watch the whole 4-hour stream. So check that out. Thank you so much, Black Elk. Do I have a play deck or something? No, StreamYard's got, you could upload the songs and just click them and you could play them. Thank you so much to all my wonderful moderators. Thank you. Oh, look, Zensworb, what's up, man? Thank you to everyone who donated, everyone who liked, subscribed, thumbs up, thumbs down, is that a thing? I don't know. Commented, didn't comment. I appreciate you all. Thanks, Jake Rattlesnake, for the raid. Why don't you take a moment and think of the life of Charlie Kirk. We talked about it a little today, but just for one moment. When you watch this video, focus on the part where you see his daughter running to him. And remember how the left celebrated and mocked his entire family and mocked him? Just yesterday, we covered that Z-Zer or whatever from Unfuck America, putting a post up. We did it! We beat Turning Point. Fucking ghouls. So just say a prayer for Charlie and his family. And never forget what the stakes are. Don't think that they would just limit themselves to taking him out. That's what the stakes are that we're facing. So I will see you all tomorrow for the Chat of the Month stream. 50% off whip songs. So it'll be Wade and me and maybe old Joe. I don't know. Anyways, should be fun. So we'll see you all there. As always, everyone, have a good one.
Only in America is it possible to say, you know what, I don't like the way the country is going, and to do something about it. Take that risk. Take that leap of faith. Stay involved. Trust God and act obediently. Romans 12:2 verse. That God will use all things for good for those who love him. It's bigger than you. I want you to remember that. It is bigger than you. It's bigger than me. You are here to make somebody else's life better, the pursuit of liberty and freedom. You know what gives me strength? The hundreds of thousands of you that say, Charlie, keep going.
1 Corinthians 5 and 15. So that's all pretty amazing evidence, not just intra-biblical evidence, but extra-biblical evidence that Jesus Christ was a real person. He lived a perfect life. He was crucified, died, and rose on the third day, and he is Lord and God of all.